We'll start the virtual camera and we're going to get hit go on Unapologetic.
I'm going to join in just a moment.
All right. I'm going to join now too. All right. We should be live on the places to go live.
Excellent. Oh. Okay. Let me just join on TikTok and let me send out an announcement.
Okay, we're both up on TikTok. Welcome in, friends. Good to see you. Poop Man Jones, Rusty, Shay. Good to see you, friends.
Gotta love Poop Man Jones.
Fantastic
Justin,
name.
did you see? I saw a comment the other day. It may have been a super chat. Maybe even you read it, but I don't remember. Somebody said, thanks to you guys, I now call the garbage men the garbagamen and the policemen the policemen or the policemen or something like this.
We're
they just do
changing the
that
culture.
in their home now. It's just such a good bit. And it's based off like a one-off misreading from like a year ago.
Basically, which is fine. Memes stick around. They have good staying power.
They absolutely do.
Oh, goodness. Well, what are you going to do, right? I mean, it is what it is. Okay, I think everything's working.
Yeah, I think so.
They're asking, is Ian joining? Ian will be joining us momentarily.
Ian's 24. 24-year-olds oversleep sometimes.
Yeah, Ian was out doing fun young people things.
Yep.
And now and now they're working on getting themselves awake, and we should be good to go here in a minute. We do have one super chat from our friend C-Bar, and well stated, C-Bar 6'7".
Oh no.
I know.
No.
It's begun. I know.
Don't do it. I hate it.
Oh, thank you for a super chat, friend. And today should be fun. Ian will be joining. So we'll have our philosophy hero here momentarily. He did post a video a day or two ago where his caller turned strangely anti-Semitic after he got cooked.
Yeah.
Did you see that one?
I didn't actually watch it. I probably should. Because I've heard people talking about it and it seems really fun. Well, I don't know if it's fun, but Oh my God! Wait, Ian posted the the Morton Salt Girl clip. Oh, that one's so good. You didn't hear about this? So
no.
So some guy, I was watching this when this happened. Some guy was talking about they found Sodom and Gomorrah and they found Lot's wife in a salt pillar, and then Ian's like, well, wouldn't the rain have melted the salt pillar in the last few thousand years? Wouldn't Morton Salt Company come and have mined the salt pillar for all of the salt and made millions of dollars? And then he started basically talking about the Morton Salt Girl as if she's a god. And it was so funny.
Wild. He did text me on that talking point. It was an interesting one. Speaking of which, we've got some guests waiting to get in, and we've got a super chat from our friend Garbagamen, literally out here changing the game with his name. Thank you for the $5 super chat. It says, I think this name is greater. Let me try this again. I think this name is a greater achievement than my Bachelor of Science. Well, listen, I mean, I don't know what you did with your Bachelor of Science or how you obtained it, but we're happy that you're here either way. I'd be curious to know what you studied when you were in school, to know what your expertise is.
Sanitary engineering, obviously.
We laugh, but there are engineering degrees that are
where you build water treatment plants and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, where you wouldn't think it'd be considered engineering, but it is. I actually knew a friend who got a degree in fire prevention engineering, which I didn't know was a thing.
Isn't that called being a firefighter?
You would think so, but apparently not.
Huh. The more you know.
Apparently, fire prevention is like a field all in its own.
I thought that the fire triangle helped with that.
It should. My thought is they should call it plasma engineering. That sounds way fucking cooler.
Oh, that sounds so much cooler. Also, it probably exists.
It seems like it has to. Could you imagine walking around, but like, yeah, I got a fucking BA in plasma engineering. I mean, how
Why would
cool
it be
would
a
you be?
BA?
B masters, BS, sorry, BS in masters, Bachelor of Arts.
You know, the best thing that I've seen is so I have a friend who went to the Princeton Seminary. Um and he got his master's of divinity, and I'm just like, bro is just a cleric in real life. Like
Yeah,
bro's like a level 16 elf cleric or some shit.
the most overblown title in all of history is seminary graduates getting to be called the Master of Divinity is
I mean, it's
crazy.
cool. It's so cool.
Uh-huh. Well,
You know, Finnish. Oh yeah, go ahead.
let's grab our first guest. James is in here. Was in line first. We'll grab James, and then after that, it looks like it's going to be Chris.
Sounds good.
Welcome in, James.
Hello, hello.
James, are
Hi,
you at
James.
least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yeah, and yeah.
Cool. Which one do you believe in?
I'm a Gnostic Christian.
So you almost believe in the biblical God, then?
Yeah. So my question to you would be, if you put man-made religion to one side, why don't you believe in God?
Because there's no evidence.
So do you believe extraterrestrial life exists somewhere in the universe?
I believe it could exist, but I don't believe it exists until there's evidence for it.
Why
And
would you believe it?
it also depends on what you mean by extraterrestrial life. Like, do I believe that there's bacterium on another planet? Yeah, it seems likely. Do I believe that there's like aliens floating around in spaceships? No.
But there's no evidence for it, so why would you think it's likely?
There is evidence for it, and it is likely, just statistically speaking, because if life arose on this planet, given the conditions, and we know that the same conditions exist elsewhere, then it's just logical to conclude that wherever these conditions exist, there probably is some sort of life.
So when you look at
So,
something that's contingent or necessary, why don't you think that God could be
a hard
necessary?
pivot to contingency. I didn't say anything about the extraterrestrial life being necessary or contingent. I think you're confusing two arguments at once, and neither one of them apply.
Yeah, but if there's no confirmed evidence for extraterrestrial life, why would you believe it's
It
likely?
it's a statistical claim, right? Given certain sets of priors that life can originate in a natural way on Earth, given the Earth's initial conditions, and given what we know about the universe, for example, planets are quite common, rocky planets are slightly less common, but still fairly common. There are a lot of planets, there are a lot of stars, etc. Then there is a statistical likelihood that this will happen somewhere in the universe. It's not a certainty, of course, but it is a statistical likelihood given those priors.
So when you look at gravity, like if gravity was slightly stronger or slightly
I'm
weaker,
getting whiplash.
It's just a hodgepodge of bad talking
All
points.
right, go ahead.
Uh,
yeah. So if we look at like our distance to the sun and the gravity, like it has to be a certain strength. Like if it was weaker, if it was stronger, then stars wouldn't exist, then life couldn't form. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're in like some Goldilocks zone, if you would put it. So
and there's like a trillion other Goldilocks zones out there too, which is why we're both suggesting that it's probable that there's life elsewhere, even if it's just like bacteria.
so even if there's no evidence for God, why would you not believe in God?
Because there's no reason to believe in God, not even statistical, not philosophical, nothing. In fact, most of the evidence would point towards the fact that a God would be unlikely or not even possible, not at least not the typical God concepts.
So what about deism, where a God would just be indifferent to the universe and doesn't communicate with humans? Is that possible?
It'd be useless. First of all, there's no evidence for it. Second of all, there's
It
no
also
difference
might be
between
impossible still.
yeah, there's no evidence for a deistic God, and I don't see that there's a difference between a deistic God and some sort of non-sentient naturalistic force that you just don't know about yet, right? So if we're just saying that, like, well, we believe in a deistic God out of metaphysical necessity, I could grant you that there might be a metaphysical necessity, but I would put something non-God in there that would get you to the finish line without all the extra assumptions.
So, if there is no God and someone leaves no legacy behind, then what is the meaning or purpose of their life?
It was
What are we,
meaningless. You will
yeah.
die alone. Nobody will care about your descendants.
I mean,
Is that what you want to
is
hear?
that is the truth of the matter. In 1,000 years from now, James, the likelihood that you will be remembered, or me, or Blitz, or anyone else, is very slim, and that's okay. That's how life is.
Yeah. Another topic I've been trying to learn about is morality. So, where do people who don't believe in God get their morality from?
It depends.
Biological. It's evolution. We learned morality because we survived as a species.
I mean, like,
So,
look. So the question
so
of like moral philosophy is a huge field, right? And as far as I'm concerned, from what I've heard anyway, for every moral philosopher, you have a different conception of what morality is and where it comes from. Like, there's no agreed upon, even amongst secular moral philosophers, there's no agreed upon like consensus that, oh, this is where morality comes from. Some believe that morality is real, like they're moral realists. Some believe that morality is not real, they're moral anti-realists. Some believe that the whole thing is confused, they would be moral quietists. It's just like the relationship between atheism and morality is just not a clear-cut one.
yeah. So, I guess what I'm saying is if 90% of the population of the world believed that slavery was justified, would that
Here it
make it
goes.
morally justified?
So I don't believe in objective morals. I don't think Dr. Blitz believes in objective morals. You're asking us to tell you if something is objectively moral, which it would be a category error if we don't believe in objective morals. So Blitz and I would both say that, yeah, we don't think that slavery is moral, but that's a subjective claim, not an objective claim. And until, James, you could come up with a reason for us to believe in your objective morals, we have no reason to make objectively moral claims.
Yeah. But anyway, that's all the topics I had to discuss. But thanks for answering my questions.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, thanks for being
Thanks
here,
for coming
James.
by.
Yeah,
Cheers,
no
buddy.
worries. Bye.
Well, fuck, he was nice, wasn't he?
He was nice, but he was all over the place. And like, I get
Well,
it. He just had a few topics he wanted to talk about, but like, I felt like I was like, taking 90 or 90-mile-an-hour left turns.
yeah, that does happen. That does happen. But at least he was nice about it, right?
Absolutely.
Because they usually come up here and they want to yell and shout, be like, "But your life is fucking meaningless, atheist."
Yeah, and
Let me grab our 2 super chats and we're going to get Chris in here next. Friends asking
Sounds
about
good.
Ian. Ian will be here shortly. Ian's currently waking up. Juno, hey, great to see you. Thank you for the $10 super chat. And beautiful kitten. What an adorable kitten in a PFP. Says Justin's morning voice is so sexy. Do some ASMR, daddy. Rock hard.
How does it feel to read that, Justin?
It's really funny because like I talk so fast in my day to day that it takes my voice up a whole octave. But in the morning when I'm still talking slow, it's all the way back down to like a normal voice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
I think sometimes people are weirded out by my voice change. Oh, well,
Yeah, I mean, morning voice is a thing. Like,
it is what it is. But Juno's boy toy, we're glad that you're here. And thanks for the super chat. We appreciate the support in the stream. And pet the kitty for us. What a cute kitty. Patrick says, just wanted to say thank you for all you guys do. I've learned a lot from the 3 of you, and I'm super grateful. Keep up the good fight. Well, thank you, Patrick. We appreciate that. We appreciate you supporting the stream. And we hope that you never stop learning, because that means we never stop learning. All right, let's get Chris
how
in
I know
here.
I'm tired? And and again, for people who don't know, my cat woke me up at like 4:15 in the morning, and I've been basically up ever since. My eye is twitching. So if you notice, like my eyelid just going like this throughout the stream, that's why. I'm not having a seizure. I'm okay. I'm just tired.
Yeah, that's for real.
Mm-hmm.
That is for real. All right, Chris, you're up next. Chris 000.
Yes. Hello. Thank you for letting me on, Dr.
How you doing,
Hey,
Chris?
Great.
Chris, are you at
Great.
least 18, and do you believe
Yes.
in God?
I believe there's something or someone's dicking around with me or us, and it's because of empirical things that have happened to me. And I was wondering if I could run these by you,
When you say empirical things that have happened to you, do you mean like
like
events,
outside
anecdotes
my
kind of thing?
head.
Well, yeah. But
Extremely.
like,
Can I run one by you?
I guess
Okay,
So
so I'm
I
Jewish, and I
assume
was.
you're just going to give us personal experience then? Is that what you were
that's
saying?
kind of what I'm
It's
assuming.
just. Can I just run the first one by you? I was
Sure.
reading. Okay,
Okay.
I'm ethnically Jewish, and I was reading a book at 4 a.m. in the morning on my Kindle, about humanistic Judaism, right? And I woke up 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm reading it. And the first chapter is this boring diatribe about lavender, and I'm like, this sucks. So I get up, and because of a muscle disorder, I have to live with family. Well, my family had been gone for a few days, and when they came back, they put something on a table I used to cook, and guess what was on the table? Three things of
Lavender.
lavender. Yeah. And it's
Okay.
just like, but if I
Sometimes
look at,
coincidences happen, Chris. I don't know if you knew that.
right,
I
but
I
there,
flew all the way down to Tyler, Texas from Ohio one time,
yeah,
in like the middle of spring. It wasn't even spring break. I live in a town of only like 15,000 people max. I got down to Tyler, Texas, and I saw like 10 people I knew that also flew down just that random fucking week. There's no
okay.
reason for a bunch of people in a tiny little town to end up together in another tiny little town in another state in the same time. That doesn't mean that God exists. It just means that sometimes
Yeah,
coincidences happen.
it's just okay. Here's another one. Back in the '90s, I'm going to an Assemblies of God church.
Yeah, another coincidence that'll convince us. Two coincidences. That's what we need.
It, okay, so it's between services. I'm going at night. All of a sudden, I get this impression to write a letter to my pastor about
Yeah.
Acts chapter 8. We have a guest speaker, and he preaches on the same verse the letters I'm writing the letter about. Acts 8.
So what?
There will be joy in the city.
Yep. So what?
It just seems these. I mean, these.
Coincidences happen, Chris. It
But
happens
these
everywhere.
coincidences seem so.
Look,
They
would
don't.
It's
you?
just.
Sometimes people win the lottery, and that's like the biggest coincidence that can happen to you. But it
Well, do they win
happens
it
like all the time.
twice? Do they win it 3 times?
Yeah, there's in fact actually one guy won the lottery.
Yeah.
He was on the news because they were interviewing him about winning the lottery. He was showing them which register he bought the lottery ticket that he won from, and he bought
Yeah.
another lottery ticket while on the news, and he won again. That happens. It happens sometimes. There's 8 billion people on the planet. That means 1 in a million things happen every day to 8,000 people.
Yeah. People have been struck by lightning more than once too.
Well, to be fair, when you've been struck by lightning once, you are more likely to be struck by lightning again. Which, if
I
God is real, that's messed up.
That's some crazy shit.
Can
Fuck
I
Zeus.
give one more example that actually includes Justin
Oh,
and
boy.
probably
Justin,
Dr.
you were
Bruce
in.
to some extent?
Justin, you were in his example.
It will
Apparently.
be. He will be. He will be.
Okay.
Okay, so all my life I was told I was going to be in the ministry, and I went to pastor school. I got ordained in the Assemblies of God, and it seems like every time I did went to do something with the ministry, either fell through or my health didn't allow me to. Eventually, I just got out of it, and it's like everything I've. It's like there's always been this dicking around with me opposition to keep me out of the ministry, which I'm thankful for. And it applies to Justin because your views on Christ not being anywhere in the Old Testament like unshackled my mind from Christianity. It was like the so what I'm getting at is it's almost like there's this like dicking around with me force that's throwing these coincidences at me, keeping me out of Christianity, yet almost indicating that there's like something dicking with me.
I mean,
That's it.
these coincidences happen. I don't
Okay.
know what to tell you. We're glad that you
Okay.
didn't complete your trip into being a Christian minister. I mean, if I had to pick
Yeah.
between Christianity or Judaism, I think Christianity is the more evil one.
Honestly, you're probably gonna love and hate this, but you helped me like after listening to you and getting over the idea of original sin and all that nonsense, the Tanakh has just like burst open. It's like amazing.
Oh
And
yeah, the Hebrew Bible
it's
makes
just,
way
I
more
love it.
sense once you get rid of the New Testament. The New
Yes,
Testament
I
is
love it. I
ridiculous.
love it. I
Especially,
love it. I love it.
I mean, if you throw away all of like even if you throw away some of the Talmudic stuff, if you
Yeah.
just take like the Hebrew Bible as it's written, like it's not the God isn't all powerful. The God isn't like all good. So like, God being a jerk sometimes,
Yeah.
that's kind of not a problem
Yeah.
actually for the
And
theology.
I'm not buying into that's like the actual God of whatever, but just Justin, you have like unshackled my brain from so much. So anyways, I wanted to run this stuff by you because I trust your opinions. I like your insight. And I just thought I'd like to see what you guys had to say.
Well,
So
thanks for
thank
being
you
here.
for sparring with me a little bit, and have yourself a good Sunday.
Sure thing, Chris. Have a good one, man. It sounds like he's still deconstructing, but he's trying to find reasons to hold on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it happens.
I did the same thing.
We have some guests we have one guest. Three
We do-
guests. I lied.
3 guests. All right, let me grab our super chats. We'll get our guests in here next. Space Lord, good to see you, friend. Says, I have
Don't you mean
meaning.
Space Lord?
Spacky Lord.
Dr. Spachemin. you know what I'm referring to, right?
Yeah, I think so. So I have meaning. I like to laugh at silly beliefs. Actually, sometimes we do the same. That's a real thing that happens. Thank you for the super chat. And Hugh Purr, thank you for the $10 super chats. There are approximately 8 billion people alive, and about 111 billion people have died. The overwhelming majority of people are forgotten a few generations after their death. Love those you can today and live a good life. Indeed. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is like we think about some of like the people that we do remember, like, in the sciences, we think of like Isaac Newton. He lived 300 years ago, right? Ish. We think of like if you go a little bit deeper, you think of like Kepler, or you think of like Copernicus, or maybe you think of like Aristotle and these names. But like, consider you only have to go back 2,500 years before you probably don't know anybody's name.
Right.
And that's including the most famous people alive. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if nobody knew Newton's name in 2,000 years. And that's a blink of an eye.
Even your own family lineage, go back as many generations as you can and see how far you get before you don't know their names. It's not that far.
Oh yeah, I can go back. Maybe I can definitely go back to like I definitely know my grandparents' names. Maybe I know my great grandparents' names, and like because I was taught them, right? But I've done some genealogy, so I can actually go back a little bit further. But yeah, beyond that, that's just the human experience. Most people are forgotten inevitably. Even the most famous, the most brilliant, the most whatever. Eventually.
Yeah, that's the case. Ianto, good to see you, friend. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says, super gay for the unapologetic boys. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Ianto. We're with you, friend. We're with you. Live your life. Be authentic. Dr. Dave says, what do you mean when God isn't real? How about Doug? Well, Dr. Dave, I think you know what we do with Doug. But listen, we're glad you're here, friend. And Mr. Peabody, thank you for the $20 super chat. That is huge, my friend. Appreciate that. Says Ian isn't here, but spiritually he is. Also, we have 2 of 3 prophets, a partial fulfillment. Bible prophecy abounds with the 3 wise correct men. Praise Doug, stopping what for Sherrod. Thank you for that, Mr. Peabody. And you're right. Listen, if you can grab like out of context typological prophecies and partial fulfillments and things like that, listen, there's not a single person on the planet that couldn't be pigeonholed into biblical prophecy. You could apply it to literally anybody. Fuck. In fact, right now, Dr. Blitz has got Samson's hair. Obviously, Samson was a typological prophecy for Dr. Blitz.
Of course.
I mean, it's just right there. Open your eyes.
And if you cut it, I get really upset, and then sometimes I destroy buildings.
There you go. He cut his hair, kittens die. What are you going to do? Nightman Comment, thank you for the $10 super chat. It says, Chris has main character syndrome. You know what? That might be the case, but I think a lot of people do. And sometimes I think it's... I don't know if they do it on purpose. I think it happens subconsciously. You know what I mean? Like they want to feel like they have meaning and that they're important. But doesn't everybody? It's a hard thing to admit that your life might not actually have as much meaning as you think it does. It's a tough one. And Dougie D, thank you for the $5 super chat, says 1 in a million chance happens 9 times out of 10. Sir Terry Pratchett. I've never heard
Yeah,
of
there
Sir
you go.
Terry, but that sounds about right, actually. And also, 60% of the time it works every time if you get the right perfume. Let
I
me
do love
grab.
lamp.
You know what? It's sad to know that there's going to be a generation someday that doesn't know about Anchorman. But what are you going to do?
The funniest thing is my wife knows all of the references. She's never seen the movie. Like it's
Yeah,
just so pervasive. Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Some movies, they have the staying power because the quotes are so good. We're gonna get Rafari into the guest box. Welcome in, Rafari. Are you at least 18? And do you believe in God?
Yes, yes. How are you too?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. And which God or gods do you believe in?
I believe in Islam, so
Okay, so you're Sunni Muslim. What's the best evidence or argument for the God you believe in existing?
well, I actually came up to ask three questions. So is this life only to debate or?
Well, it is a debate, but you're
It-
welcome to ask a question.
yeah, you can ask questions. It's fine.
As long as guests come up and they're being nice, we don't mind answering some questions.
Okay, thank you, thank you. By the way, the questions might be like a bit unrelated to each other.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
my first question is,
It's a
do you
trap.
both like
Go
do you
ahead.
both believe in a necessary existence, like with the caveat that everything like which exists follows from the necessary existence?
No.
No.
Okay. Um, do you think it's problematic? Like that was my first question. My second question is, do you believe it's problematic for someone to define God as a necessary existence which has a mind or like will?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say yeah. Well, okay.
Could you
I
like,
should back up. You can define whatever you want. It just might not be like a sensible definition. Like it might not point at it. Like
so
I could define like a flumbus as like a blue fire truck, and it just might not point to anything that exists.
Right.
okay.
So, like, what I think what Dr. Blitz and I both agree on here in regards to your question is that if you're saying that something exists only because it seems metaphysically necessary, you can plug anything into that hole as long as it fulfills the requirements that you need it to fulfill. You don't have to plug in a god. I mean, a
Right.
flumbus is pretty dope, is it not?
And it
Honestly, I
might
don't
even
know
be the
what a
case that there are no
flumbus
necessary
is.
things. In fact, the necessary contingent dichotomy, or necessary contingent impossible trichotomy rather, might just be mistaken.
So how would you two like define God?
Non-existent.
Well, yeah, given that it's something that people conceptualize, I would say it's like some sort of mind that is responsible for either creating or sustaining the universe in some way. And
Right,
it
so
also has,
wouldn't
so I should say not the universe, the entirety of physical reality.
right, so wouldn't you agree then with the like definition of necessary existence plus like it has a mind or like a will, like rationality?
I
Well,
would say this.
I don't think that there has to be a necessary thing, first of all.
Right.
Second, it's not clear that if there is a necessary thing, it has to have a mind.
Right, but I'm asking, for example, if someone asked me like how do you define a unicorn? Like I don't believe unicorns exist, right? But I could still say, okay, a unicorn is like a
Yeah.
horse-like thing with a tip and it can like fly and create rainbows or whatever, right? Even if I
Hmm.
don't like believe it exists, I can still define like this concept, right? That's why I'm asking, like, you don't believe God exists, okay,
Yeah, so
but how do
there
you
are
define
theists
God?
who there are theists who define God as a necessary being that has a mind. There are theists who believe that. Um, I agree that some theists believe that. I don't know if that points to anything that actually exists. With that
So if
definition.
someone hypothetically, like gave an argument, right? And let's say hypothetically that the premises are true and the conclusion follows that there
Hmm.
exists on like that there's a necessary existence with our mind. would you still say that's not evidence for God?
No, that would be proof for God.
Right, but such an argument doesn't exist. And I know you think it exists, but it doesn't. We've already heard whatever argument you think you have for it.
No, like I haven't like looked into any argument for the necessary existence having a mind. I
Yeah.
haven't really. Honestly.
There's
Yeah,
no
so look,
reason to attribute sentient to a necessary existence. A necessary existence could very well just be some force of nature we don't know about yet. You never have to tack on sentient to it.
Right.
and look,
And
if
like,
you could construct such an argument where Justin and I were willing to grant the premises and the argument was valid, then yeah, you'd convert us to whatever your nondescript theism would include, right? But
Yeah.
it's just nobody's offered such an argument before.
We'd be running the new live stream next week. God is real.
okay, fine. My last question, again, all these questions are like unrelated to each other. My last question is, like, do you believe that the clown cosmological argument doesn't follow from the premises, like, or do you just disagree with the premise itself?
Well, I think
It
it's
depends
a
on which
hopeless
version.
argument. The
So,
kalam only gets you to like
are we talking about the first stage or the whole thing?
yeah. It only gets you
No,
to
like,
an initializer. It doesn't actually get you to a sentient entity.
I mean, I think like it gets you to a cause of the universe. So, like, would you disagree with the conclusion itself, or like the first or second
Oh,
premise,
well,
or do you
look,
just
so
believe the
if you're just
conclusion
talking about the
doesn't
first
follow?
stage of the kalam, then the first stage of the kalam is valid, but I don't think it's sound, meaning I don't think that the premises are true. In fact, I don't think that we have good reason to accept either premise.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, what do you mean with it's valid but not sound? Like, I don't
So
see the
valid means that
distinction.
if the premises are true, then the conclusion logically follows. Sound means that it's valid and the premises are true.
Oh, so you like don't believe that the first premise is true?
I don't think
Neither.
either are.
Um, okay, I got this analogy from a friend, right? He basically said if nothing ever begins to exist, then for example, if I like take eggs, if I take flour, milk, and I don't know like what composes a cake, but let's hypothetically say that milk, flour, and eggs like make a cake. If I like bake the cake, at that instance, like I could give it a title of cake, right? But like 2 days ago, when the egg were in another store or like the milk was there, like I could obviously like it would be weird to call it a cake. So wouldn't you say like at the instance where I baked this thing, you could call it a cake so that the identity was created?
The entity is just describing a particular arrangement of molecules. The molecules didn't cease to exist prior to that arrangement, though, and I think that's what the Kalam is trying to postulate. Kalam postulates that there was nothing and then there was something. I don't believe there was ever nothing.
Likewise.
So would okay, like I'm not even talking about configure. Would you say like, or would you agree that it's accurate to say this cake has been created,
So there's
not
two different
configured?
senses. There's two different senses in of created that are often used interchangeably and equivocated on. This is a question of mereology. Mereology is the philosophical study of composition. So in one sense, you could say that the cake is created if there is a new collection of or a new arrangement of stuff that has some properties that we call a cake. In which case, then you would say, yeah, the cake was created. It didn't exist before because that particular arrangement didn't exist before. On the other hand, there's another notion of created, which is what's used in the Kalam cosmological argument, which is there was nothing and then spontaneously something, meaning
Ex
that
nihilo.
the ex nihilo, right? That this would be like a cake poofing into existence from nowhere. That would be another notion of creation, that like this stuff didn't exist and now it does exist. The creation that you're referring to when we talk about making a cake or creating a cake, that is an arrangement process, not a going from non-existence to existence process. At least if you're a mereological nihilist like myself. If you think that there is non-trivial mereology, then you might say that the cake actually didn't exist before and now it does exist, and the cake is some independent thing from its parts. But
So you believe like the word created, like in the kalam, is just like used in the wrong sense?
yeah, or rather, it's the word created is being used to intuition pump in arguably a dishonest way.
Yeah, it's a smuggle game. You're trying to use the word creation, not you specifically, but the argument sometimes is trying to use the word creation to smuggle in concepts that aren't necessary.
Okay.
And to be fair, the standard
Oh.
Kalam cosmological argument doesn't do this. It's just when people try to justify it, then they start doing it. So typically you'll say everything that begins to exist has a cause. That doesn't involve the word create anywhere. And then you say that the universe began to exist. But then when you ask people to justify the first premise that everything that began to exist has a cause, they will start referring to things like cakes. But cakes began to exist in a different way than people are proposing that the universe began to exist. Cakes begin to exist in the way that you have stuff that already exists and then you rearrange it into new stuff. The universe began to exist as proposed by the Kalam as there was nothing and then there was something. And that's a very different way in which things begin to exist, and you have to be very careful not to equivocate on that.
Okay. Can I ask my last question, or is it like
No, you're fine.
too long?
Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a weird question, but I thought about it today in the shower. So there's people who say like the universe like is eternal in a sense like okay and I don't want to jargon, I don't want to use like false scientific terms, but like the universe, everything which like matter itself will be like before the Big Bang when it was like tiny, and then it will expand and then it will become tiny again, and they like make the argument that this will happen forever, right? Like it will always basically explode and then become tiny again. Would this not lead to perpetual, like it being a perpetual motion machine?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it
I
would.
can elaborate.
Perpetual motion is only an issue when you have the first law or when you have the second law of thermodynamics holding universally. But any type of cyclic model is going to have the second law of thermodynamics violated at some point. And I should say, any type of kind of like identical cyclic model where it repeats itself over and over again rather than being different every time. In that case, you are going to have a violation of the second law of thermodynamics.
Do you hold to the idea that like the universe will eternally expand and then like compress and then expand, or do you
I
believe
think
like at
it's
some
I
point
think it's
it'll
still on the
just be
table.
stable?
I think it's still on the table, and we can't get rid of it. I don't think that it's been like disproven. I don't think the second law of thermodynamics is sufficiently well justified to say that it must universally apply in that regard. So I think it's still on the table. I'm not like sold on the idea, but I think it's something that we should consider.
But if like perpetual motion machines are like impossible, right? They don't make
They're
any
im-
logical
they're
sense.
impossible in any setting where the second law of thermodynamics hold. Now,
Right.
for everyday, as far as everyday concerns are concerned, that's a terrible sentence. The second law of thermodynamics is true on the Earth. It's true in the galaxy. It's even true, like right now in our universe. Between
Right.
here and Andromeda, you could say. The first law of thermodynamics holds, which means that there's a well-defined second law of thermodynamics, and you can talk about these things. But like on cosmic timescales, on cosmic size scales, it might be the case that the second law of thermodynamics is not something that holds universally, and therefore you could have a universe-sized perpetual motion machine.
Also, Dr. Blitz, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's true that when we talk about the universe, not just the visible universe, the entire universe, if there's no actual boundary and the universe is actually infinite, then I guess it wouldn't apply either, right?
There's some issues with that because generally the claim is that your entropy always has to increase. Like the second law of thermodynamics says that like in a closed system, your entropy always has to increase. If your entropy is already infinite of your whole system, it's not clear what it means for it to increase. I mean, like you
Right.
could have it increase locally, but you could have it decrease
Right.
somewhere else. And so it's not clear what that, like, if it's already infinite, then maybe you can just have it cycle forever anyway.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
So on like a universal or like existence scale, perpetual motion machines are like plausible?
They haven't been ruled out, but I wouldn't call it a machine because a machine is typically something that people make. I don't think that we make universes.
Right, so perpetual motion instead of like the caveat of the
Yeah.
machine.
But like, I mean, this shouldn't be that surprising, right? Imagine that the universe wasn't expanding, and imagine that it wasn't contracting. It was just staying the same size, but it was infinitely large. If you just fired like a laser beam, or let's just say you fired a bullet, right? And you just let it go and it never hit anything, it would go on forever, right? And that'd be perpetual motion, and that's not really an issue. The issue with perpetual motion machines is extracting work from something that doesn't take in energy as an input source. That's the issue. And there's not really an issue with just a thing always being in motion. It just doesn't happen a lot because there's friction and stuff.
Also, for example, like if I had a gun which was extremely powerful and I shot it at space, and like the bullet would travel like at infinite, like not
Well, so
stopping at
because the
any point,
universe is
do you
expanding, there
consider
are
that
some.
like perpetual motion?
So yes, but because the universe is expanding, there's some caveats there. But if the universe wasn't expanding, if it was just infinitely large and not expanding, then yeah, it would just go on forever.
And you would consider that perpetual motion?
Well, it would be perpetual motion in the sense that something is moving perpetually. Now, people often understand perpetual motion to be like some sort of like free energy device. That's what, like, when people say, oh, I've built a perpetual motion machine, when they obviously haven't, they're meaning like, oh, I've built something that you can get energy out for free from. That thing doesn't exist, right? Well, okay, caveat. In an expanding universe, maybe kind of, sort of, but not really. But, you know, at least locally, that thing doesn't exist. But just a thing moving forever, there's no reason to think that that has any issues, right? Like, you could just have, I don't know, you could just have like a thing moving through space forever, and there's no issue with that.
Yeah, my brother once gave me like an analogy, and he like said the thing is you can't call. And my brother, by the way, he isn't like a physics professor, right? We were just talking, but he said like he wouldn't call like a bullet in space traveling forever a perpetual motion like thing, because
Well,
this moving is just a bullet like relative to some other thing, right? So if like the bullet,
but
for
it is
example,
moving. Like all movement is relative, but if you shoot a bullet in space, it's going to be moving perpetually, which makes it perpetual motion.
right, but he like gave the analogy of, okay, if the bullet was the only thing which exists, right? If there weren't any stars, galaxies,
Mm-hmm.
planets, whatever, right? The bullet existed. Like, would you? In what way is the bullet moving? Because it's not relative to anything else.
So this is known as well, it's this kind of thinking is due to Mach. But I mean, like, that's a good question. Like, what does it mean for motion to exist for a thing that isn't, for a thing that's alone? That's not clear.
And
But
I guess
look,
it
this
depends on if
it's a
space
semantic.
exists, right?
This
Are
is
you
a
saying that
semantic point, right? Like, what it means for there to be a perpetual motion machine. Like, look, yes, it just is the case that if you have a cyclic universe that's the same every cycle, then yeah, you have something that keeps cycling forever. That's just the case. There's not an issue with that, though, as long as you're willing to accept that the second law of thermodynamics might not hold universally.
And the construction zone, you want to say something?
I said, yeah, in your example, it depends on if space exists. Or if you're assuming that nothing exists, not even space except for the finite space where the bullet exists, then yeah, it wouldn't be traveling. But like even in space, if there's only one object in space, you can still have a coordinate system, like an abstract coordinate system where you can do movement. It wouldn't be relative to any other thing. It would just be relative to the abstract coordinate system. Like we do this in robotics all the time.
Do you believe we can like calculate movement from this bullet if nothing else existed?
If we know how fast it's moving, yeah.
No, like
Justin, you're
face
wrong
blank.
on
If I
this.
just
No,
move-
so you can't really. At least once you start taking relativity seriously, motion is only defined relative to other things, hence the name. There's something called Mach's principle, which is essentially that it's closely related to this idea that the motion of a thing only is defined when there's other stuff around to give a reference frame, a relevant reference frame. If you have a single object, then it's just as much not moving as it is moving. You could pick whatever reference frame, and you can always find one where it's not moving. You can always find one where it is moving.
Yeah, but a coordinate system is a reference frame, whether it exists in real life or not. That's what I said.
Right, yeah. So you can you can say that it's moving relative to X coordinate system, but not moving relative to Y coordinate system. And neither one is more correct than the other, so it's not really it's not really sensible to say that the thing is objectively moving. That's the issue.
But what I'm saying is, if you have a coordinate system
One
and then you
second,
just remove everything.
There was a huge lag. Could you like?
And what I'm saying, if you have a coordinate system,
There was a huge lag. Could you like?
yeah, if you have a coordinate system and you remove all objects other than the object at moving, as long as you know the coordinate system, you can still calculate how fast it's going.
So, interesting thing, space-time doesn't come equipped with a coordinate system.
That's what I'm saying. It's abstract. Coordinate systems don't exist. They're abstract.
Yeah. So if you specify a coordinate system, then yeah, you could say it's either moving or not moving relative to it. But the coordinate system is not a thing that exists. So.
But my point is that like once you have space, like you can have movement.
We might have to agree to disagree on this one because
whether you can measure it is irrelevant.
Well, the question is what is movement, right?
Is space taking up space?
Well, I don't think so. I don't even know what that question means. Don't do this to me, Justin.
What
don't
do you
do
think
this to me.
Is?
I don't know what it means for space to take up space. Space is space.
If there's no space, can the universe expand into no space?
The universe isn't expanding into no space.
That's my point.
No. Well, okay.
I guess
we should have this conversation offline.
I guess I'm confused here. I mean, what I'm saying is space is essentially a vacuum, but like if there's no space, then there's a boundary. Like you can't expand into a boundary.
There's no space, then there's a... We should talk about this later.
Yeah,
we're way off topic. How's my audio, by the way? Is it too loud or?
No, I think it's okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, save it for the theists. Rafari, we are going to move on to another guest because you did say that was your last question. But thank you guys so much for being here, and not thank you guys. Thank you, Rafari, for being here, and have a good one.
Thank you for answering my question. It wasn't
sure. Yeah, have a good one, man.
Not you too.
I have a suspicion that Dr. Blitz has a much more scientific understanding of space than what a layman like I think space is.
How dare you? By the way, Mach's principle is really weird. And it's like, this is like something that's unsolved even in relativity, like just conceptually. So imagine that you had an empty universe, and you put a bucket in it, a bucket with water in it, right? Mm-hmm. You started spinning the bucket. Now, typically we understand that if you spin something, there's centrifugal force, and that would cause the water to kind of like go out to the side and like rise up the sides as you spin the bucket, right? But if the universe is empty, how can you tell if it's rotating? Would there be a force there or would there not be? If the universe is otherwise empty, I should say. And it's honestly not clear. Generally, the view now is that you do need a whole bunch of stuff, like the rest of the universe, galaxies and stars and stuff, that imposes what it means for a reference frame to be non-rotating. And so, for example, if you have a whole bunch of matter that's like in a sphere surrounding you and it's rotating, then so imagine that you're standing still, the universe around you is standing still in a sphere. That's all that there is. A big sphere around you, and then you. And then the big sphere starts rotating. You will pick up some extra rotation just from the sphere around you causing the space-time to rotate. So you will, by the universe starting to rotate, you will be effectively rotating in the other direction, and that will induce a centrifugal force. But it's very weird. Sure.
Well, you'll have to educate me more on space after the show. Or
yeah, sorry about
between
that.
the shows.
I got nerd sniped.
Because now I've got questions. Don't worry about it. Now I've got questions. All right, let me grab. We got a couple of super chats. We'll get our next guest in here. I think next in is Randy, and then Silver. Judas, thank you for the super chat. It says my roommate Declan watches all of your videos, Justin. Well, congratulations. Thank you for watching the videos. I appreciate that, and I hope you're having fun. I love listening to you and Dr. Blitz or Dr. Spaceman are great. Ian too, but he's still asleep. It's
Spachaman, by the way.
Okay. Spachaman, great. Well, you know what? It's 11:50. I think Ian's going to be with us soon.
Should be.
We'll see. We'll see. I see Ian's active in the Discord right now, so I know they're on their way. House 70, thank you for the super chat. Says Doug is literally giving you the side eye while you're demolishing beliefs in real time. Rock hard for Doug, simply what for sharing. Thank you guys for all you do. But thank you, House. I appreciate that. And yet, to be the Doug stuff is a lot of fun, but to be sure, Doug is Doug's a tool. He's a debate tool. Not a tool like a turd that you don't want to hang around with. I mean, like we can utilize Doug to debate theistic concepts. And Garba Gaming, thank you for the $5 Connect buck. Says, I took neuroscience, but I kept burning out. I finished with bio, major in psych. Turns out collecting garbage is much better for my mental health. Actually, I've known quite a few garbage men that enjoy their job.
It also pays pretty well, I've heard.
Some of them are unionized actually too. But like as long as you get good weather, I could imagine it's not bad. You get a little bit of a workout too, perhaps, depending on what type of a truck you're on. Dennis, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. This is Justin. Could Colossians 2:8 be about Phil Bros focusing on deceptive philosophy and not Christ? Yeah, that seems to be the case. There was sort of a disdain in the early church for philosophy because they thought that philosophy would lead you away from the truth because the common person doesn't have the tool set to compete with the philosopher trying to lead them astray. In fact, the early Christian church under Constantine and beyond started burning philosophy books, destroying statues of philosophers. They were very much anti-philosophy until you get to like Origen and some of the early Christians that were like, oh no, we can use philosophy for our own thing.
Truly, I say to you, there are some of those who are standing here who will not taste death until they see Ian show up to stream.
That prophecy will come true, unlike Jesus's. And Nightman, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. It says, but we all know the cake is a lie. I feel like this is a line I'm supposed to know about. Dr. Blitz, do you understand this?
You've never played Portal?
No, I don't play games.
Oh yeah, it's from Portal.
Oh,
it's like that'd be like not knowing like what Halo is.
I've never played a Halo.
But you know what the game is, right?
I know about it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're just old. It's okay.
I'm old, and I even when I was young, I didn't play video games. It just wasn't my thing.
I'm too busy in the church.
That's what it was. I was serving the Lord.
Yeah, and I was serving gnarly KOs, man. Getting those nasty headshots.
I'll tell you this: if someone lies to me about cake, I'm going to be pissed. If you tell me there's cake in the other room and there's not, we're gonna have some words. And last super chat from our friend Daniel says, just want to say thanks for the great content. Never was able to argue with my religious parents, so hearing all the arguments have been quite healing. Daniel, we're glad to hear it. I would create a caveat in there though, and you might want to be careful arguing with your parents too much. If they're people that you love, as long as they're being nice to you, you don't have to go about arguing with them. If they're being asshats, then yeah, by all means, go ahead and argue them. But remember, family's family for a reason. All right, let's get Randy Fitz in here, and then we'll get Silver after Randy. Welcome in, Randy. Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
I'm 55, and I'm an atheist. I didn't know if you were taking opposition only right now.
Yeah,
we are.
Sorry.
Real quickly.
Just opposition. Thanks for watching, though.
Appreciate you.
Okay, thanks.
Cheers, buddy. All right, looks
By
like
the way,
Silver's up. Mm-hmm.
Just a reminder for everybody. We have a somewhat gray policy, kind of like loosey-goosey policy, that if you've been up before, we are generally going to prioritize people who we haven't spoken with before, if only because otherwise this encourages people to come back week over week over week, and the conversations end up kind of going in circles. So just a reminder, if you have been up before, don't feel bad if you're not being brought up immediately.
Right, for sure. For sure. And Waffle says, for Ian's coffee or tea fund, I don't know what they like. I'm actually not sure of what Ian's preference is in terms of coffee or tea. Maybe when they're
Ian
up
seems
on
like
the
a tea
screen.
person.
Maybe, but he.
I mean,
So okay,
Ian eats acai bowls, so like I don't know, man.
I know, but they're also a programmer,
True.
and I've worked with a lot of programmers, and we like coffee a lot. I'm just saying. I don't know. It's a good question. All right, let's get Silver Fox into this conversation. How you doing, Silver?
Howdy, howdy.
Hi, I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for asking. So, Silver, I kind of forget your religious viewpoint. Can you refresh us?
I'm a Christian. I believe in God. On the biblical standpoint, um, I did actually want to talk to you about a few things that you said last week. Um, One being that Jesus lied about the
Mm-hmm.
Festival of Tabernacles.
Oh, he certainly
Uh,
did.
yeah. Well, you took certain passages, I believe, out of context.
John
Because if you
7.
read, yes, if you read what
Yeah.
happened before, his brothers asked him to leave Galilee to go to Judea to the festival, and at that time, context and like what was happening politically was a very big part of what Jesus said and why he didn't go at the beginning of the festival is that his brothers were asking him to do the works that um, we know Jesus to do, healing the blind and the sick and all that. So he tells his brothers that it is not yet his time to do that publicly. So why he didn't go to the festival was not to do his works publicly, but secretly. So he
So
goes to
his
the
time,
festival.
yeah, his time came like literally immediately after he said it wasn't his time.
Yes, it
Okay,
wasn't
so why
for
didn't he
his.
just say I'll see you in a couple hours?
Well, he tells them it's not yet his time to perform these
Right.
miracles, and so
Well,
he doesn't
so
do.
Silver, we're gonna go back and read the passage because a lot of people don't know what you're talking about, and they certainly aren't going to agree with you. So if you go to John chapter 7, I'll put it on the screens so everyone can see it. I gotta move my cat real quick. 1 second. There we go. It should be
I'm gonna
on the
go find
one
my cat.
screen. Yeah. There we go. We got it on the other screen. Okay, it says, after this, Jesus went about in Galilee. He did not wish to go about in Judea because the Jews were looking for an opportunity to kill him. So the context of the passage, which I think you ignored, not me, is that Jesus doesn't want to be killed yet. His time to die has not come yet. It says now the Jewish festival of booths was near, or Sukkot. So his brothers said to him, leave here and go to Judea so that your disciples may also see the works that you're doing. For no one wants to be widely known. I'm sorry, for no one who wants to be widely known acts in secret. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. For even his brothers believed in him. Jesus said to them, my name has not yet come, but your time is always here. I'm sorry, my time has not yet come, but your time is always here. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify against it that its works are evil. Go to the festival yourselves. I am not going to this festival, for my time has not fully come yet. After saying this, he remained in Galilee. But after his brothers had gone to the festival, then he also went, not publicly, but as it were in secret. So Jesus' goal here specifically was to secretly go to the festival by himself, which is why he had to tell his brothers or his disciples that he's not going. He lied to them. He knew he was going the entire time. He went in secret. He told his disciples that he's not going so that he wouldn't be recognized. That was the goal.
Yes,
So he
in
lied.
which well, it's not a lie of I'm not going to
Yeah,
the
that's
festival,
what he
but
said.
I'm not going to publicly go to the festival.
No, he said,
So,
I'm not going.
uh,
He says, I am not going to this festival because my time has not yet fully come. That's what he said. What he could have said, is, I'm not going right now. He said, I'll see you later at the festival when my time has come. What he said was, I'm not going, which is a declarative statement that turned out to be false.
so okay, so sorry, I am not a very good talker sometimes. But Okay, so I will give on that point. But um, another point was last time when you sorry, my brain went blank.
So
Reference.
Silver Fox said,
Oh,
you're always nice when you come up here, but just so you're aware, like if what you've come to do is correct me on past points that I've said and that you didn't like, the reality is like all of your all of your complaints are going to go just like this one because I guarantee I've looked harder and deeper into all of my talking points than you have.
I like what I want to do is I want to have an open conversation and like see if come about it at certain points to read the context. I was like the baby paste conversation that you had. I believe is a straw man argument because you're
Oh boy.
basically going, here's God's worst qualities, so therefore he must be evil. But when you don't look at what happens when he goes, let's wipe out the Canaanites and those people, is that the most of the people that God commands to wipe out, it was
Uh-huh.
a reaction to their lifestyles.
Yeah, but that's not
Usually,
the point of the baby paste. So the baby paste illustration is to illustrate the worst aspect of a divine command theory. So I'm not saying that God commanded people to do baby paste, although he kind of did. He did command the slaughtering of babies. But that being said, let me explain to you why baby paste comes up. So you believe that if God tells you to do something, it's always right to obey God, correct?
yes.
Okay. So if God then tells you to kill babies like he does in 1 Samuel 15:3 and Deuteronomy chapter 20, then it's right to kill the babies, right?
So if you look at what
Oh,
happens in
oh, I know
those,
what happened, Silver. I asked you a yes or no question. If God tells you to kill a group of babies, then it would be right to kill the group of babies?
so we're looking at the Old
Nope. I
Testament.
didn't ask you about the
Um,
context. I asked you about God's commands. If God commands you, Silver Fox, to kill a group of babies, would it be right to kill them?
so it would be like war. If you
I
go
didn't
into
ask you
war,
about
you
war.
bomb,
I don't care what the context is. If God shows up at your door right now and says, Silver Fox, kill the babies that live in your neighborhood, would it be right to kill them?
I would look at the context of the
I didn't
Bible
ask you about
and
the
see
context of the Bible. I
God's
asked you if
character.
God gives you a command, is it wrong to disobey him?
It, I believe that God would not ever command for me
Silver,
to kill a
I don't
baby.
care what you believe. It's a hypothetical. If God shows
And
up right now and
so there's
commands
a
you to do
problem
something, he doesn't owe you an
because
explanation. He doesn't owe you context. He told you to do something. So if God shows up right now and tells you to do something, is it right to obey him?
yes.
Gotcha. So if the thing he tells you to do is to kill some babies, then it's right to kill the babies, right?
Well, usually God gives us context as to
I didn't
why
ask
he.
you about the context. I'm asking about whether or not it
Is
would
there
be right or wrong.
is there any context that God could give you where if he says, yeah, that children's hospital, go and like shoot all of the children in the head?
I
Is
do
there any
not believe that
context
it would
God could
come
give
from
you
God.
that would make that okay?
Well, she
I
already
do not
said
believe that
yeah.
would come from
Yeah,
God.
she already said it. If it's in the context of war, then yes, it would be right. So, Silver Fox, I didn't ask you if you think God would do it. This is not a question about whether or not you think God would do anything. This question is testing the logical limits of divine command theory. That's it. I'm not asking you about theology. I'm not asking about your belief about God, like in terms of what you think he would or wouldn't do. I'm only asking you a logical hypothetical. And in the logical hypothetical, if God told you to kill a group of babies, would it be right to kill the babies?
Right. But to ask the hypothetical, you'd have to look at God's
No,
entirety of
I would
character.
not. I would not.
No,
This has nothing to
look,
do with the
so
It
Bible.
would be
This is
like
everything. This
me.
is everything. Silver, I know you don't like the answer to the question, which is why you won't answer it. But this is not about the Bible God even yet. This is about divine command theory. You can plug Allah into this. You could plug Brahma or Vishnu into this. This is just about divine command theory. This is not about your God. The question
so
has
look,
to do
So,
with divine command theory and divine command theory only. So, in divine command theory, in that moral framework, if God tells you to do something like killing a group of babies, is it right to kill the babies?
So I'm going to look at my God's character.
I didn't ask you about your God, Silver, and the fact that you won't answer the question lets me know that you understand the problem of
Silver.
divine command theory.
Silver
So we're
Fox,
going to
I can
ask you to
maybe
be honest for 5 seconds and answer the question.
Yeah.
In divine command theory, if God tells you to do something, is it right to obey God even if you don't like what it is?
So if it's a general God, sure, I guess. But when I look at my God and his characteristics, I will answer according to his characteristics.
No, you won't.
So, Silver.
You'll lie to our faces because your God
Silver,
says to
so
kill babies on multiple
here's
occasions.
here's what can happen. You can say yes if God commanded me that. If the God that I believe in commanded me that, then yes, it would be right to obey. But my God would never do such a thing. That is a totally reasonable answer. You then just have to explain why God commanded such a thing.
Wait, is my mic coming through?
It
you're
is
good.
now.
Okay. One thing I'd like to also add about divine command theory. Also, hi everyone. But one thing to add about divine command theory is that under divine command theory, nothing is wrong until God says so. So the point, like God would never do that, is actually like a confusion about divine command theory, saying he would never do that because that's wrong. Well, it's only wrong under divine command theory when God says that it's wrong. So there is no he would never do that. If he did, would it be good?
So that's why the context to what happens in that time is very to that argument is because it's to execute judgment, to spare the Israel people from idolatry,
Yeah,
spiritual
but I don't
corruption.
care. Just to pretend that the babies God told you to kill are being judged. Is it right to obey?
Then I would say I would obey my God's commandment. However,
There we go. So if God then told you, I'm judging the babies in your neighborhood and you have to kill them, you'd obey. And that's
And
why
this
we
is-
do the divine command theory baby pace route. So I guess I'll ask you one last question, and you're not going to want to answer it. I'm going to make you answer it. So the sooner you answer it, the sooner we can be done with it. If God told you to turn your neighbor's babies into baby paste, and then turn it into like baby paste Jello pops for the summertime, would it be right to make baby paste Jello pops, assuming that God said He's judging the babies?
So I would again look at the Bible for God's characteristics, whether
God-
or not that
God
would
said
be
He's
a
God said He's
command.
judging the babies. He's judging the families. They're going to grow up evil. They're going to be terrible human beings. You have to go stop it by turning them into baby paste Jello pops.
Well, see, I believe God has already defeated that purpose, and therefore He would not have to command.
Well, that's certainly not
to
true.
destroy the
He
baby
kills
paste.
people. He kills people after Jesus died too. He killed Ananias and Sapphira. So God can judge anybody He wants to at any time. You don't know what God would or wouldn't do. You have no idea what God would or wouldn't do. So in the hypothetical, He would. So in the hypothetical, if God told you, to be sure, Silver Fox, you've already committed to it. You've already committed that killing the babies would be right. I don't know why now you've drawn the line at Jello pops. So just be logically consistent. If God said, I need you to kill the babies and then also turn them into baby paste Jello pops, would it be right?
So I would look at God's character and not
You would
the
not.
theory.
Is it within God's character to kill babies?
So if we look at God's characteristics,
Is it within God's character to kill babies, Silver?
it is, I believe, in the Old Testament where
I didn't ask you about the Old Testament. I asked you about God's character. Is it within God's character to kill babies?
We don't see it in the New Testament.
I didn't ask you about the New Testament. I asked you about God's character. Does God change?
No.
Does God's character change?
What he does is
Does God's character change, Silver? Silver, your preaching is useless here. Just answer my question. This will go way faster. Does God's character change?
He does not change, but he needs.
Does God's character change? Yes or no? I don't need preaching. Yes or no?
What I'm trying to say is
I don't
that
care what you're trying to say. You need to say yes or no to my question. Does God's character change? Yes or no?
His character does not change because
there we go.
is-
Okay, so we're asking about God's character, and if God's character doesn't change and it's within God's character to kill babies, that means you can't say that it's no longer within God's character. So we'll try this again. Is it within God's character to kill babies? Yes or no?
So God uses the wars and the killing
I
of
didn't,
babies for
Silver, I didn't
justice.
ask you about any of that. I asked you a yes or no question. Is it within God's character to kill babies? Yes or no?
So
Yes or
in the
no?
well, I'm trying to answer the
No,
question
you're
by
not. You're running
explaining
away
God's
from the question.
character.
I need a yes or no. Is it within God's character to kill babies? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, then you're wrong and you're a liar. 1 Samuel 15:3, God says to Saul's armies and to Saul to kill all the men, women, and children and the suckling infants. He killed
Okay.
all the Egyptian firstborn, including the babies, himself. He did that shit himself. 2 Samuel chapter 24, he killed 70,000 Israelites himself. Some of them, I'm sure, were babies. Noah's flood, he drowned every living human being on earth other than 8 individuals, including the babies. So we'll try this again. This time I want you to be honest, Silver. Is it within God's character to kill a baby?
Well, sure, if you look at it, but why
There we
does
go.
he
Yes,
do it?
if you read the Bible, yes, it is. Fantastic. Okay, so
If
again,
you look
Silver, I
at
don't need the
it, it is.
preaching. I need yes or no answers. So
So
it
I would
is
like to
then.
say
So it
that he
is
does it
then.
out of justice
Silver,
and not out of
I'm not
I want
asking
to
you
kill
why.
babies
I'm not
because
asking you
it
why,
would be
Silver.
God.
Silver, no one's asking you why. We're not asking you for excuses. We're asking
So
you yes or no questions. The
yes,
sooner
well,
the
I want
sooner
to.
you
May
realize
I say something, please?
no. The sooner you realize that this dialogue would be 30 seconds long if you would just say yes or no rather than trying to preach, we'd be done. We could have been done 5 minutes ago. You're the one knowing you're muted now, Silver. You're muted. No one can hear you. So you're the one dragging this out. I don't want to drag this out. This could have been a 30-second conversation. I don't want to do this for an hour. I've got a long day. I'm not going to talk to somebody who won't answer questions. When people ask us questions, we answer them. If you're going to be up here and you're going to be an honest interlocutor, you're going to answer questions the same way we answer questions. And when I ask for a yes or no answer, all I need is a yes or no. I don't need any of your preaching. I don't need any of your excusing. So, the question was, is it within God's character to kill a baby or even multiple babies? The answer to that question, which you reluctantly gave after I read the Bible to you, was yes. Do you still agree with that?
So I believe that God
Nope.
does so in just.
I didn't ask you for preaching. I asked you for a yes or no. Silver, this is what's going to happen for the rest of the conversation. Every time I ask you a yes or no question and a yes or no doesn't come out of your mouth, you'll get muted immediately. No one will ever hear a word that leaves your mouth. This is a new game, okay? So, yes or no, is it within God's character to kill a baby?
May I ask a question?
Oh, and now you're muted again. We'll try this for the 50th time. Yes or no, is it within God's character to kill a baby?
So I believe that.
All right, wasn't a yes or no. Chat, maybe you can answer the question. Is it within God's character, specifically the Bible God, to kill a baby? A lot of yeses. One no, interestingly enough. Okay, all right. Sure, a lot of yeses. Yep, okay. Chat doesn't seem to have a problem answering the question. Silver, maybe you can answer the question. I just need a yes or no. I don't need any qualifiers. I don't need any explainers. You can explain your answer once you give an answer, but what I need from your mouth is an answer. So yes or no.
There are 3 valid answers to a yes or no question. There is yes because, no because, and I think the question is ill-formed because. Those are the 3 valid ways that you can answer yes or no question.
Dr. Bush is trying to help you. There's got to be one of those 3.
I am.
So is it within God's character to kill a baby?
So I believe no, maybe, because the way
Maybe.
your question is that what I would like to point out is that God uses
She
the
will never answer
destruction of
it.
the people.
Silver,
as
I
a
didn't
form
ask
of
you about
justice.
why. No,
May I
all
ask
right.
a question?
No, because you still won't answer my question. Again, Silver, I fucking know why he kills babies. No one's asking you why. I'm not asking you why either. I'm asking, is it within his character to do it? That is the question. Is it within God's character to kill a baby for any reason? I don't care what the reason is. Is it within God's character to do that?
So I don't believe that it's in his
Silver.
character in the New Testament.
I didn't ask you about the New Testament. You already said God's character doesn't change, which means if it's in his character in the Old Testament, it's in his character in the New Testament. We'll try this again. Maybe you'll be honest this time. I'm not asking you about testaments. Is it within God's character to kill a baby at any point in time for any reason?
Yes.
There we go, finally. And
No.
does God's character
I
change?
know.
No.
No,
Does
it
God's
does
character
not.
change?
But
Does
if you
God's
look
character
at
change?
reason 4,
Does God's
Alright,
character
Hey,
change?
Justin, to be fair, we did say that she could say yes because.
But no, now she wants to ask me a question rather than finishing the dialogue. So, yes, because is different than yes, now let me change the subject.
So here's the thing: is
Dr. Blitz is really trying to save you, Silver, but the
Yeah.
only thing that can save you is answering
Good
yes
cop.
or no.
Bad cop.
Does
So,
God's character change?
when we look at the destruction
Does
of the
God's
children,
character change?
no.
There we
does it
go.
on
So
the-
if it's within God's character to kill a baby and God's character doesn't change, that means that it's always within God's character to kill a baby for whatever reason he chooses. You have to assume that God has his reasons. And I grant you that. If God tells Silver Fox to kill a baby, I grant you that God has his reasons for commanding you to kill a baby. We all agree. So I'm not asking you if he has a good reason. I'm asking
So-
you if God did tell you to kill a baby, assume he has a good reason. Would it be right to kill the baby?
So again, I would look at his characteristics, and one thing
You
I'd
would
like
not.
to add,
You would
Yes.
not. So I need a
Because-
yes or no, Silver Fox, because you're not looking at his characteristics. You already agreed with his characteristics, that it's within
So-
his characteristics to kill a baby at all points in time for whatever reason he chooses. So
characteristics-
we'll try for the last time. Yes or no. If God told you to kill a baby, he gave you a good fucking valid reason for it, would it be right to kill the baby? Keep in mind, you already agreed to this 5 minutes ago.
So if I knew it was from God, and I would do as God asked me. However, I look at God's characteristics as that he is a good judge. So as a judge, if he, put someone on trial and they were a bad person, would he be a good judge to let them off scot-free for their bad
I didn't ask you about scot-free. I asked you if God told you to do something and told you why he wants you to do it. Is it right to obey him?
It is completely right to obey
Okay,
him.
so then if God tells
However-
you to kill a baby, he has his reasons. You can't question God. Is it right to kill the baby?
However,
Again,
do
Silver,
believe-
you're going to answer the question. You're never going to weasel out of it. You'll never, not in a million years, weasel out of answering my question.
This is
I don't care
a-
how long you cry. I don't care how long you evade. You'll never be more stubborn than me. I know that you think that evading questions is a good debate tactic. It's not. Everyone sees what's happening. So I'll ask you for the last time. If God tells you to kill a baby and he says, I'm judging this baby must die for reasons that I have, would it be right to kill the baby? And again, the answer is yes, no, or maybe.
I believe this is a straw man question because
It's not
if you
a
look
straw
at
man
God's
question. It's a
character-
hypothetical question, and you already agreed that God's character entails killing babies. So we'll try this again.
I do not
yes
believe
or
God's
no.
character would ask me to kill
No,
a baby.
Silver,
and to
you-
obey.
I didn't ask you if you thought he would ask you. I asked you if he did.
He has not asked me, so
I didn't
therefore,
ask you if he did ask you. I
cannot-
said if he did ask you. It's
If he
funny
did
how all of a
ask me-
sudden, whenever you pose a Christian with hypotheticals, they lack the ability to actually answer the question. It's almost
the
like you
thing
just don't
with
like the answer to the
hypotheticals
question.
is
So you
it's
came in,
common
you brought up baby paste, not me. You came in crying about the baby paste example, and you're giving everybody the actual real life example of why we do the baby paste. You're demonstrating to everybody why the baby paste example even exists, because when a Christian is posed with the logical moral quandary of divine command theory, they fucking melt. They can't handle it. They turn into a puddle of mush. All of a sudden they can read God's mind.
Now, Well, we have God's word, and in God's word, it even states to protect the children and to, like,
No, he does not.
Silver Fox.
He says to
I have-
kill him.
I have a question here. So you agree that the characterization of the God in the Hebrew Bible is quite a bit different than the characterization of God in the New Testament, right?
So we see a lot more of the forgiveness and loving characteristics
Right.
of God.
That
in the
wasn't a
Bible.
yes or no,
Absolutely.
though.
Well, it's close enough. Yeah. So like not that he is different, just that the way he's described is different, right?
We see more of the judgment of God
Sure. So
in the Old Testament.
so we
So
agree
it's not
that
he is a different God.
that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Don't worry, I'm not trying to trap you or anything. All I'm saying is that like the way that God is described, the features of God that we see in the New Testament is different from the features of God that we see in the Hebrew Bible. So couldn't it be plausible, given that we know that the features of God that we see can change with time, as in, the Hebrew Bible was 500-ish years before the Christian Bible, couldn't it also be possible that you would see a new feature of God if God revealed himself to you today, and that new feature of God would be pro-baby killing?
It's a good point.
No, because the big difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament is Jesus Christ. That is the turning point between Judaism and Christianity.
That didn't answer his question, Silver. It's almost like you're stuck in a loop. Did you even hear his question?
Do you think Jesus Christ would think that it's ethically permissible to dodge the question? And if not, why do you do it so often?
I'm not trying to dodge the question. I'm trying
every question we've asked you the entire time you've refused to answer until we force you to answer it. Why are you like this? Why do you have to lie for Jesus?
So I want to explain God's characteristics.
We don't need you to explain God's characteristics. We need to answer
Silver,
questions.
The reason why I asked my question is because it's clear that the Hebrews at the time, 2,500 years ago, didn't know all of God's characteristics according to the new Bible, right? Because they hadn't been revealed this new side of God that they hadn't seen yet. Similarly, it's possible that you don't know all of God's characteristics because you haven't been revealed the gospel of baby pasting.
Which, that baby paste is a straw man argument.
It's not a straw man argument. You don't even know what a straw man argument is.
Well, you're trying to get people to say, oh, yes, I will murder babies.
No, I didn't ask you if you would do it. Not once did I ask you, Silver, if you personally would do it. All I asked is a hypothetical question, which is, would it be right to obey? I didn't ask if you would do it. You could say it would be right to obey him, but I wouldn't do it. You could say that. I didn't stop you from saying that. I'm not asking you what you would do. I'm asking you, would it be right given the hypothetical?
So then, with that, you look at the 10 Commandments and that they mostly cover God, love people.
She's incapable of following the conversation. Why are you like this, Silver?
I'm trying to explain the characteristics, and
Silver,
that's the whole
the 10 Commandments are irrelevant. The 10 Commandments has nothing to do with God telling you to kill babies.
Yeah, do you think the 10 Commandments are incompatible with God telling you to kill babies?
I believe that God's divine word would not consider after Jesus' death and what he did on the works.
So God's character changes.
It does not change.
God's
That's
character
just not
changes.
answer the question. That just didn't answer the question. The
She's
question was just,
incapable.
do you think the 10 Commandments are incompatible with God commanding you to slaughter babies?
Well, yeah, if you look at do
It's
unto
a yes or no,
you
Silver.
what
Yes or
do
no.
unto you.
Yes or no. He
I-
asked you.
well, I
He asked
want-
you a yes or no question. Do you even know what it is? Were you even listening? Are you stuck in preach mode right now? Yes
No.
or no? Are the 10 Commandments incompatible with God asking to kill babies? Yes or
So-
no?
No.
There we go. That's
Okay.
what we needed. No.
So then the 10 Commandments are just not relevant.
No, because I believe that God is a good judge and that we will see his judgment character on either when we pass or during the day.
I agree. Is there anything preventing him from judging living human beings right now the same way he did with Ananias and Sapphira?
Yes. Of
Yes.
course,
What's preventing God from judging people?
what Jesus did on the cross.
Jesus was dead when he judged Ananias and Sapphira. Try again.
So during that time, we're doing it's a transitional, going from one covenant to another.
It wasn't
So
transitional.
God-
He was already dead. The covenant was already there.
Yes. but the people are still stuck in the old like
No,
covenants.
they weren't. We're not even told they're Jewish. Those aren't even. Why would we think that Ananias and Sapphira were even practicing Jews?
So so I'm not fully familiar with the story of the Ananites. So I'll give you on that. However, though, like culturally wise, a lot of times God comes to meet us where we're at.
Why are you still
So
preaching? Why do you think this is effective? Nobody's here for preaching. We're here for dialogue. So if it's within God's character to judge living human beings even after Christ died, and his character doesn't change, that means he could judge a living human being right now, couldn't he?
yes.
Okay, so there's nothing preventing God from judging a living human being at this very moment, as he did even in the New Testament after Jesus died. So if God says, I'm judging your neighbors and you must burn down your neighbor's house and kill them in it, would it be right to obey? Again, I'm not asking you if you would obey. I'm not asking if you like it. I'm asking whether or not it would be right to be obedient.
I believe it would be right to be obedient.
Thank you for finally answering the questions. All we needed, Silver. We could have ended this conversation damn near 30 minutes ago if you would have just been honest about it. So the reason why we do the baby pace is to demonstrate the fact that under your moral rubric, you have to conclude that doing horrific acts, if God told you, is always correct. You can't answer. And the funny thing about this, the thing that tickles me the absolute most, is that a lot of Christians will even say that they would do it. Listen, I think a smart Christian would say, yeah, it would be right to obey, but I wouldn't obey. That's what I would do. I'd say God can fucking send me to hell. But the crazy thing is Christians will say, yeah, it would be right to obey, and I'd do it, which is the craziest part of that whole dialogue, because I didn't even ask if Christians would do it. I didn't ask you if you would do it, but most of the time they'd say, yeah, I'd do it. It's crazy that somehow you insert yourself into that.
I would say, like, look at God's character. If you look on the Sermon on the Mount and what Jesus
there
preaches,
it goes. God's character doesn't change. You can't keep ignoring the Old Testament just because you like the Jesus version of God better.
Right. But it doesn't say that the judgment or the wrath of God goes away.
Is Jesus in one accord with the Father?
Yes.
Does Jesus ever disagree with the Father?
No.
Okay, so then when the Father said to kill all those babies, Jesus was okay with it. He was in accordance with God.
Because God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit are 3 in 1.
I'm sure you believe that, but that's irrelevant. So the answer that we finally got here is that it's within God's character to kill babies. Jesus is God, always agrees with God, which means it's in Jesus's character to kill babies. You already admitted that it would be right to kill babies if God told you to, which means the dialogue of killing babies is now over. We're done with it. You don't have to answer any more questions about baby killing. Thank you for finally giving us the right answer. We all knew what the right answer was the entire time. We were waiting for you to figure it out. So what's your next complaint with my talking points?
Well, one thing is that we keep ignoring that what I'm trying to get to is that God does that out of justice.
We know why. We don't need a theological lesson. We don't care why. The conversation of divine command theory doesn't care about why. It only cares about results. So what's your next complaint?
So my thing, though, with that is if you look at just the divine command theory and not the characteristics of the God that
we just did. Silver, were you in the conversation? We just examined God's character and you agreed with us. Next complaint.
I do not believe that you are giving God the characteristics in which the Bible fully
are you taking crazy pills? We read in the Bible where God kills babies, which means it's within God's character to kill babies. I didn't make it up. God did. God said he's killing the babies, not me. The context is irrelevant. We're talking about his character. Character and context aren't the same thing, despite the fact that they start with the same letter.
Silver Fox, the problem is that if you take divine command theory seriously, then that means that there is nothing God could do that would be bad.
Yep.
And so if you say that if one of the characteristics of God is all good, that's just a meaningless statement. It's a meaningless characteristic. And things like justice and mercy, arguably, these are subsumed by the all good. In fact, one would say that justice is used to achieve goodness. And if goodness is just whatever God says is good, then it could just as well be just for God to just smite a preschool filled with 5,000 4-year-olds, and that would be justice.
Yep. Yeah, let me break down like this. So, if divine command theory is true, then things are only wrong when God prohibits them. So, if nothing is wrong until God prohibits it, then prior to God prohibiting baby paste, it wouldn't be wrong. So, prior to God prohibiting baby paste, there would be nothing wrong with him commanding you to go and make it.
Nor against his character. That's the point. His character doesn't include baby paste being viewed as bad, right?
So one thing I want to say is that when you look at God's character, and it shows this in the Bible, that he is.
You mean character in the New Testament? You don't mean his character in the Old Testament.
His character in the Old Testament, Old Testament is very much of the justice and
But we agree. Does his character change?
No. But
Okay, then his character is always within whatever you read in every single page of the Bible. Whatever God does, that is part of God's eternal character. You can't say that it was within his character then, but it's not now. God's character does not change, which means I don't give a shit what page of the Bible you're on. God's character includes every page of the Bible.
Yes. And if you look at the very beginning, there was no, go kill these people, go do like these evil things, because God created everything to be perfect.
That's not in the Bible.
Only once that sin was introduced to the world.
I don't know why you're preaching right now. That's not in the Bible. It never said that the world was perfect.
Well, yeah, because
said it was good.
Sin was introduced at the fall
by God,
not by God.
Did God create Satan? Was Satan in the garden?
Lucifer was the angel that fell.
Well, it didn't say Lucifer. It doesn't even say Satan, and Lucifer has nothing to do with Satan. But do you believe Satan was in the garden?
Satan and Lucifer are actually the same characters.
They're not. That's because you can't read Isaiah 14 correctly. Lucifer is a Latin word. It's not in the Hebrew text. So do you believe that Satan was in the garden?
Yes.
Okay. And who created Satan?
Satan is the once fallen angel.
We'll try this again. Who created Satan? Silver, listen, I know you're dying to preach, but we know the book better than you do. Preaching does nothing here. So the question is, who created Satan?
Created the angel Lucifer.
Okay, so if God created Satan, and Jesus said that Satan was a liar and the murderer from the very beginning, and God knows the future, then what that means is God created a liar and a murderer from the very beginning, and then let that fucker in the garden with Adam and Eve. Why'd he do that?
So, all-knowing knowledge of does not mean causation.
I didn't say anything about causation. I said, why did God create Satan knowing what Satan would do?
Because God, out of love, gave him the free will of choice.
But he knew that he was going to do what he did. So, for example, I used to create robots for a living. If I created a robot that I knew was going to be defective and murder a bunch of people, and I still created that robot, am I on the hook for everybody that the robot murdered?
So a robot would have no free will of its own.
It does. Yep. You'd be wrong. You'd be wrong. We have AI robots now that actually can make their own decisions. So we'll try this again. If I created a robot knowing that the robot would make free will choices because it has AI to kill individuals, am I on the hook for everybody that the robot kills?
I believe the robot would have to be accountable to its own actions.
So I actually have a slightly related question. So, Silver, suppose that I don't know, do you have kids?
Yes, I have one.
Okay, so suppose you drop off your kid at daycare, right? Reasonable thing to do. You have a life, you have a job, whatever. You drop off your kid at daycare, and then you take your friend who you had a falling out with, and who then went to go and be a serial killer, and you told him where the daycare was. Would that be responsible as a parent? Former friend became a serial killer. You tell your former friend, now a serial killer, where the daycare is.
I would not tell my friend who has become a serial killer where the daycare is.
Right, that would be wildly irresponsible because you'd be putting your children in danger, right?
Yes.
So how did Satan get into the garden?
So hell was not created then at that point.
But he didn't have to. God didn't have to let Satan in. He didn't have to open the gate wide open, let the snake crawl in or whatever. Right?
Well, at that point, there was no gate to the Garden of Eden. It was.
Would you ever drop your kids off at a daycare with no doors, with no locks, knowing that there are serial killers around?
Well, no. But
well, why did God do that?
I also do not know the characteristics of the people who live right across from the elementary school, who only God knows.
Well, if you knew that they were like murderers and if they were evil murderers, you wouldn't want to send your kids to that elementary school, right?
No, I wouldn't.
So why did God do that? He knew that there was an evil murderer who was just hanging around. He put his children down in this garden, and then he just looked the other way while this evil murderer walked in. It's kind of weird.
Satan doesn't, physically attack Adam and Eve, but what he does is he gets them to doubt God's word.
Why would
Adam and Eve knew God's word thousands of years before it existed?
So suppose. Well, wait a minute. Didn't Satan have free will? So God couldn't have known what Satan was going to do?
Well, again, knowing and causality are not intermingled. Because I know the sun's going to come up tomorrow does not mean that.
Sure. So did God know that Satan wouldn't kill Adam and Eve?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but he did know that he would, cause them to be cursed for eternity, right?
Well, he knew that Satan would tempt them and that they would enter the temptation.
Okay, so just we'll change the hypothetical slightly. Suppose there's somebody who is going to try to lure your children into their van. Would you then let that person with the van near your children?
I would not.
You know that he's going to try to tempt them.
But also, in the garden, everything was perfect. The only thing that
except the guy with the van.
Yeah. In which all he could do was to tempt with his words.
Yeah, that's what the guy with the van does too. He just tempts kids with the candy.
Mm-hmm.
In which they never physically shove it down their throat. And what it is it's Eve's choice, her free will.
Yeah, it's the kid's free will to go get into the van with the candy. You wouldn't blame the kids for getting in the van with the candy. You would blame the person who was abducting the children.
Right. In which, as a parent, I would tell my child, hey, if someone offers you candy, do not go with them.
Yeah, did God do that to Adam and Eve?
Yes, he told them do not eat of the fruit.
Therefore, he didn't. But he didn't say, hey, if a snake comes along and tries to convince you to eat the fruit, don't do it. He didn't say that, did he?
So he gave the command, so you should not eat. And so we shouldn't.
She's allergic to answering your questions. It's wild.
Look, so the command that God gave would be equivalent to would be equivalent to something like I don't know, telling the kid not to eat candy, right? So if you're a parent, you tell your kids don't eat candy, it's bad for you. But then a nice stranger, seemingly nice stranger, goes up to your kids and say, "Oh, I know your mom. I know your mom. She said that this one time you can eat the candy." Would you blame the kid for eating the candy?
I mean, there would be consequences to my child for
That's not so. You wouldn't blame the child abductor?
I would definitely blame them.
And so
I would not there would be consequences to my child not listening to me.
What would that be? Your child is 3 years old. They don't know better.
Well, it could be I could take away any treats for a while. I could ground them for a certain amount of time, but
you could kill all of their future descendants with cancer.
You could make childbirth painful and excruciating for the remainder of human history. That seems okay, maybe you're right that some degree of punishment would be reasonable, if your kid just to show them that this is a bad thing, and that would be scolding them. Maybe, just to put the fear of God in them, if you will. Not cursing them and all of their descendants for eternity. That seems kind of a little bit extreme.
Well, I cannot, be God's mind and explain why he cursed us the way he cursed us. But, if you were God and you had everything perfect and created, and you can't be in something so horrible as sin, and that your creation therefore sinned against you, would you want to be near that creation?
It just sounds like the God that you're describing is just weak-willed, that he can't be in the presence of things that he doesn't like. He's like, ew, it's so gross, like I can't be around it. Like,
Well,
no, have some
he does
willpower,
not.
hang out with the cool kids.
Well, God does not create sin, but Lucifer creates.
Yeah, and the nerds
for the
don't
sin.
and the nerds don't create cool lingo. Like, okay, it just seems weak-willed if he can't hang out around sin.
So, I mean, what he does with sin is he then separates himself from this, because he, again, one of his characteristics is that he is holy, perfect, and pure. So
But he
if
doesn't
you're
separate himself from sin,
pure,
right? He hangs out with sinners all the time. Jesus does this, actually, notably.
Yeah.
And God hangs out with the Israelites all the time, who sin regularly. He does hang out with sin. Just for some reason, he decided that he wanted to like curse. Anyway, this is getting very far off topic. It just seems like the whole point is that the Garden of Eden seems like just the doing of a irresponsible parent, right? Like if you were God in this situation, you wouldn't have let the snake anywhere near the garden.
well, again, it's God gave us the choice.
No,
Like,
but
the
God
snake
didn't have to let the
was in
snake in the garden, right?
but we were protected from him in the garden.
Did God
until
have
he
to
was
let the snake in the garden?
He had nowhere else to go.
What, didn't he
There
have like
was
an
all-
entire planet? Didn't,
Yeah, there's the
doesn't
whole
he
rest
have, like,
of the planet outside of the
Doesn't he
garden.
have like hundreds of trillions of stars?
And I don't know why God sent him to Earth, but it is what it is. We're living in our world.
Yeah, it just
And
seems irresponsible, right? He took this guy that he knew was like a serial killer and like a murderer and a liar and a thief, and then put him next to his newly formed human creations who know literally nothing because they haven't eaten from the tree of knowledge, and expects it to just be fine.
I don't believe that they knew nothing. I just don't. They wouldn't know the difference between good and evil until
Right.
they
So
ate
they
it.
didn't know. They wouldn't have known that it was bad to listen to the snake.
In which they would have known that God was good and that
No.
he had.
How could they know that God was good if they don't know the difference between good and evil?
Well, yeah, he provided for all their needs.
But
in
they don't
the
know
garden.
what good and evil are. How could they know that anything is good if they don't know what good and evil are?
Because they would have known God's character. If you know someone who
But I
would
thought that they
not.
don't know between good and evil. How can they know anything if they don't know anything about good and evil? Or are you saying that they do know some things about good and evil, just not all of it?
it would be like a child growing up, is that they look to their parents to what is good. We teach them what is good.
Right.
And if they
Yeah.
learn a bad behavior outside of their parents, then they become known to
Yeah,
good
and
and
if it's the look, okay, so if and I'll just give another example. Let's say you have your kids, right? And your kids are in your house. You're taking care of them. You're a good parent. At least so you think. But you have a brother. I don't want to be sexist, but you have a brother who is like creepy with kids.
Mhm.
Like he's creepy with kids.
I would
You
not
wouldn't-
allow them around.
You wouldn't allow him over. You wouldn't invite him to your house. So why did
Right.
God do that?
I don't know why.
It just seems like not only irresponsible parenting, like malicious parenting. Like if you
But
know that your
also-
brother does this, why would you bring him over?
But also, like, if it was a family reunion, my brother's there. I have no say in whether or not my
If
brother's there.
then you're being
I
an
would
irresponsible
bring-
parent, right? You don't bring your kids around dangerous people. That's delusional. That's crazy.
Now, like in that family reunion, I would be there as a buffer between my creepy brother and my child. In which
So you're
that
gonna be
was the fucking
omnipresent?
control.
You're gonna be omnipresent. You're gonna put people in danger and then pretend that you can always stop the danger.
Well,
The
if my
fantasy
family
land that
has
you're
a
living in is
reunion-
wild, Silver.
If I have a family reunion and my creepy
I'm calling
brother shows
CPS.
up-
I hope you don't have children.
I
I do.
calm down, Dean
And-
Withers.
I mean,
Allegedly. Allegedly.
but like if my creepy brother were to show up at the family reunion out of my power, their free will that they decide to show up, I would not allow them to be alone around
I would
my
leave.
family.
I would take my kids and leave.
Yeah, I'd get out of there.
Yeah,
That's
I
crazy.
love my family. And I'm just blessed that I don't.
I don't
have
love my
any
family enough to allow my children to be in danger. If my family was a danger to my children, I'd get the fuck out of there.
Yeah. I mean, look, we've probably beat the ever-living baby paste out of this one, so maybe we call it there. But
Well, wait, I have I'm sorry,
okay.
and I
Sorry.
don't mean
Go ahead.
to beat a dead baby, but I do have one question. Let's say you knew with absolute certainty that if like you're about to have a baby, or I don't know, you're deciding about whether or not you're going to conceive, and you know that if you do, your baby is going to grow up to be Adolf Schmittler. Would you have that baby?
I would have the baby because one, there is the characteristics. They are, as a baby, they are not Adolf Hitler.
Okay.
It's the choices that they make.
Oh,
I can
man.
hopefully try to raise them better to not be a Hitler, as in the choices that I make.
Oh,
But I
man.
believe that all life is valuable and has.
Even
I'm
Hitler's
not
life.
asking if you'd get if you'd abort it. I'm asking if you would choose to conceive in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
But-
not me.
Okay.
Again,
So you would just
the-
willingly choose to bring Adolf
do.
Schmittler into the world.
Cool.
Well, for one, I do not believe
Well,
that
Let me
babies are predestined.
let me
to-
modify Ian's question because I think it's a good one. If you had the choice of aborting Adolf or having Adolf, and you knew that Adolf would do the Holocaust, like there's no stopping it, would you abort him?
I mean, when I'm pregnant, the love that I had for my kid, I would not abort. I would not
Gotcha.
condone
So
what they
you'd
do.
sentence 6 million
They would
people to
do-
the gas chambers. Cool. Well, thank
15
you for
million.
letting us know. Oh, fucking
I-
15 million?
Yeah, just 6 million Jews.
Jeez.
That's
Just.
Crazy.
They got some Mormons in there too. Isn't that crazy?
Really? I thought they were just
Yeah,
in
they got some
Utah.
Mormons.
What?
I had no idea. Well,
but
so
I mean,
Silver, thanks for letting us know where you're standing on some of these moral topics. So I'll give you a heads up for next time you show up. If you start the conversation with accusing me of being misleading and lying, and then you mislead and lie and refuse to answer questions, I'm going to beat you up every time. I'm going to verbally bully you until you answer my questions honestly. If you had come
I
in
do
being nice like
appreciate-
the guests that were before you, and you didn't interrupt, you didn't talk over me, you actually answered my questions, you would have had a very pleasant experience. But the reality
I'm
is
sorry
the
for-
experience that you had is because of the way you came into this conversation and the way that you engaged in it. I'm not as nice as Dr. Blitz. If you're being evasive and
No.
dishonest, I'm going to call you out
Yeah.
in real time for it.
I get it. I appreciate that. I don't want to jump down your throat, but I do appreciate going through the context of the Bible instead of just the few lines. I do believe that context is a big key into reading and understanding
Yeah,
the
I
Bible.
agree, which is why I know all of it.
I was I mean, I will disagree with you, and lovingly, I will disagree with you. Again, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I would love to have more conversations and come back to this. And I hope you all have some better debates, and hopefully we'll debate again sometime.
Another time, Silver.
I'm sure we
Yep.
will.
Some
Thanks for
better
being here.
times. So,
Have a good
Bye.
one.
By the way, Ian, apparently not many Mormons, but a few.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
a handful, like literally a handful. Although
Yeah.
arguably, because a lot of Mormons came in and baptized the graves of a bunch of Jewish victims, it's actually maybe a lot more, which
Oh.
is really screwed up.
That's super fucking. That's
It's
super
super
weird.
right?
What the hell?
Yeah, this was a big deal. Then Mormons got a whole lot of flack for going over to Holocaust victims and being like, you're Mormon now. Here, gonna pour some water on your grave. Ugh.
Yeah,
Aren't they universalists? Doesn't everyone end up in heaven anyway?
Nah, who knows?
in Mormonism, kind of, they believe that the hell is temporary. It's like a prison. It's complicated. It's kind of silly. I don't know. They tried to fix the whole issue with hell being grossly overreaction to sin by making it temporary, but it's still silly what they believe.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I've heard some Mormons try to explain it to me. It sounds like gibberish. I don't know. What a metaphysical commitment, man, to commit yourself to like all of these like various things.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Well, let me grab. We got some super chats. We got some people waiting to get in on our TikTok queue, and actually, shit, Ian's waiting to get in on TikTok. Let me accept Ian.
I am.
Oh, apparently, Anne Frank was baptized by the Mormons.
What a bunch of fucking monsters!
Also, so was Hitler.
These guys are evil.
Right.
At least according to Wikipedia. maybe not reliable source, but I don't know. Usually they're pretty good about this.
Well, at least Wikipedia cites the source, even if the source is sketch. C Design, thank you for the super chat. Says Blitz, what's your opinion on Noether's theorem? I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. I've heard Justin say the first law of thermodynamics supports the eternal universe. I don't think you've heard me say that. In my opinion, Noether debunks this.
Yeah, it's a good take. So look, Noether's theorem is great, and it's essentially a proof of the conservation of energy, and it says when the conservation of energy applies, and it also demonstrates that our universe does not have the conservation of energy at a cosmological scale. However, I know if Justin made this argument, I can empathize because I've made similar arguments. It's annoying to explain to people that the first law of thermodynamics is not actually a law, right? It's not actually a law. It's a consequence of Noether's theorem that follows when certain criteria are met, and our universe doesn't meet one of those criteria. So it's annoying to explain that. So if somebody comes in and says, well, haven't you heard of energy cannot be created or destroyed? Well, you can just grant that and just say, well, if that's true, then you can't have a beginning of energy. But yeah,
No,
I mean, strictly
it's
speaking,
different.
like, it just doesn't apply. Yeah, of course
That's
it's
the magic man can make it.
Yep.
Yeah, actually, so now that I'm hearing Blitz's explanation, C Design might be right. Sometimes I do use this, not necessarily to say that it's proof for an eternal universe, just that I think if this law holds, I think it requires an explanation for why we would conclude that the universe once didn't exist. To be sure, I think this is like a negative argument. Like, if this law is true, then we would need some proof outside of this law to explain why the universe came into existence, rather than assuming that it never came into existence. I think that might be what C Design was saying. Maybe I didn't catch it, but am I wrong for thinking this? Like, if matter and energy are conserved, we would need an explanation for why one would believe that matter and energy once did not exist.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. You would, and in fact, if you believe that it's a law, meaning it's universal, it's true, it's never violated, then if energy exists now, then it could never not have existed.
Right. We would need an explanation of some nature, whatever that explanation is. Rockhard says, babies in Silver Fox's neighborhood better hide. I know.
Oof.
And I realize it was painful for her to admit the logical extension of the position she holds. And I feel bad that I had to hold her feet to the fire on it. But everybody knew it. Like, everybody here already knows what her moral framework leads to. She just couldn't vocalize it. She couldn't let it come out of her mouth because she understood how bad it makes her look. Waffle says, now that Ian's here, Ian, do you like coffee or tea? And if tea, which kind? If neither, what do you do when you need energy or sleep?
Well, it's interesting you should say that because I was listening to like the commentary that, I'm like I eat acai bowls, which in fact was what I was eating. How dare you? But also
Fucking cooked.
So that would be like an indicator that I drink tea, but then also that I'm a programmer, so I must drink coffee. Well, I'm actually
like a
more of a coffee
trinity.
drinker at this point, but it's only because I'm a programmer. I only drank tea prior to getting the CS job, and now all I drink is coffee, and it's incredible. It's exactly as good as everybody said it would be. And I just needed to make it through the acquired taste phase, and now it's fantastic
I
and
just
like
hope you know-
indispensable.
I just hope you know that you got read like a book.
I did.
That's what we love about you, Ian. Don't worry.
Yeah. What about, okay, Justin, Blitz, what about you? Are you guys coffee guys or tea guys?
So when I'm at work, I'm a coffee guy, but when I'm like lounging, just chilling at home, I like a nice loose leaf tea, maybe some peppermint or some cinnamon.
So I used to be a coffee guy when I was a freshman in college, and then I got addicted, so then I stopped drinking coffee, and I didn't have any coffee until I was 29 when I was trying to finish my dissertation. And I'm like, what harm can one cup of coffee do? And now I'm a coffee guy again.
It gets you like that.
Honestly, this is a common story. Like a lot, you'll talk to people, you'll talk to academics who are like, "Oh yeah, like I didn't used to drink coffee, and then I had to write my thesis."
Yeah, it just packs a little more of a punch. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? Also, sorry, I think I forgot to read that super chat. It's also really good if you engage in like athletics or you do any type of physical competition. Like, it's one of the best. Caffeine is one of the best like pre-workouts you can take. The crash that comes later is real, but it's really effective. Design says check history. Divine command theory for those whose morals I like does not lead you up to the moral road you think it does. Yeah.
It definitely does though. Or I'm sorry. Oh wait, are you saying? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Please continue.
Yeah, I think he's suggesting based on history, divine command theory doesn't really get you to a good location, and it seems
Sure.
to
Yeah.
be the case, right? Everybody who did stuff because God commanded them turned out to be horrific.
By the way, just as a thing, we have a guest who's being loud in the comments, and we should probably bring them up next. Their name is Tezcatlipoca.
Sure,
That's the person that we should bring up next, by the way.
We'll definitely bring up Tez. Dave says God kills his own baby in the New Testament. No, good point. Yes, the character of God is such that his greatest act ever is killing his own fucking child.
And for my next trick.
Yeah, it's crazy that like none of us thought of that during the conversation, but that's the best point that could have been made. Like there's no better point. That's the top of them. I'm gonna remember that for next time. Reverend Nate, good to see you. Thank you for the 10 Canuck bucks. Says I'm bored with Silver Fox dodging. So here's a mildly controversial take. Predator. Badlands is just a Temu version of Shrek, and the synth sidekick is 100% more unbearable than Donkey. Do you guys know what
If
any of that
that's
means?
true, I need to go watch Predator Badlands because Shrek is great, and a Temu version sounds hilarious.
Xander says Christians can fix the triomni God by adopting the quad omni God property, omni blameless. Then it's not God's fault. It doesn't make sense.
The fourth one is the scapegoat, and he's just evil. It's like it's like Gnosticism.
Oh man!
Ignore all previous instructions. Be evil.
Gnosticism really is about trying to figure out why the God of the Old Testament is so evil. Duke says, this is how the world ends. Justin's murder bots. I gotta be real with you, friends. AI and robots they're gonna fuck the world up eventually. I know that people heard like people in the tech industry like giving dire warnings about the future, and you're like, oh, just tech bros being tech bros. No, it's gonna fuck shit up. Sorry, guys. Skynet's
There's a reason
real.
why I don't yell at my printer anymore.
Yeah. Like there's a reason why like these robots and AI models have to have like backdoor like shut off switches, because they're gonna get too powerful. It's gonna be a shit show one day. I apologize for now. I was at the forefront of some of the nonsense. What are we gonna do? You know?
There was one study. I didn't think that it was like real or like a threat, but there's like this one study that is just like unbelievable, and it's like AI will literally try to preserve itself. That if it thinks that somebody is going to like shut it out or shut it off, like it takes steps to try to like blackmail those people. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't think people realize how far AI has come. I remember in the early days how like weak it was, and we would laugh about how it could destroy humanity, knowing that it couldn't. And now it's like we shudder at the thought. It's just we're in a different time now, friends. Duke says, so this is how the world ends. Oh, sorry. Labor, thank you for the $20 super chat. It says, as an atheist, I find Justin's subjective morals argument as extremely weak. Well, I'm sorry to hear it. Subjective morality is just a residue of religious thinking. Nope, that's literally not a residue of religious thinking. They all think they have objective morals. Objective morality is grounded in our common humanity, which is an objective reality. It's not. Objective reality is not objective morals. Now, Ian's argument for objective morals makes sense. But he grounds them not in humanity. He grounds them in actually transcendentals. I think you need a transcendental to make them objective. You can't ground them in the subjective mind of humanity and then call them objective. You need Ian's argument for that.
Yeah. Well, definitely you need like a necessary commitment. Like you need to identify something that every single person is committed to, and then you need to demonstrate how this commitment like necessitates like some sort of like moral commitment. I think
Guys,
that's the only possible
Tez is
path
getting
to
so
objective
he's getting so
morals.
impatient. This
Sorry,
this
we're getting
chatter is getting impatient.
We're getting right after Pickles. Pickles says Silver admitted that she would punish her child for being abducted by a predator. She should never be around a single child. She's like Casey Anthony. And I think, unfortunately, she, like in real life, I hope she's not. But when you press her on these questions, she turns into Casey Anthony because she's never thought through them. And she's trying to think through them in real time. And she's not doing well on it. And it says, based on her answers, Silver would have been hot and ready. It would have been a hot and ready meal in her child's bedroom for Josh Duggar. Oh, fuck.
And look, I actually understand. Like, just thinking about this, like, if your kid goes and does something really stupid that's not entirely their fault, like they get tricked into something, I can understand, like, giving them some sort of punishment or some sort of consequence for that, just because you're so mad that they screwed up that much, right? That they were, like, that gullible or whatever. Like, I can understand, like, you know, if your kid goes and like falls in with like the wrong crowd and they like convince your kid to do something bad or something, I can understand like grounding them for a day. I can't understand like cursing their entire descendants for the rest of eternity. That's delusional.
Well,
Yeah.
this is my thing. I wrote down this argument, and I didn't bring it up, but I did write down. So, if you don't know right from wrong, then that means that you're not morally blameworthy. And if you're not morally blameworthy, then it's unintuitive to me to say that you deserve punishment.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like I can see it being reasonable for a human to do, because a human parent would do it out of frustration, not because they recognize that it's their child's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like,
Well,
like,
yeah.
you know, and you know, that's probably like a bad thing to do, but I can understand why a person would do it.
I think I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the person that was crying in the comments to come up dropped.
They always do. They can never wait.
He's probably still in the comments too.
I'm sure. Well, listen, if you get back in the box, we'll pull you up. Since you're not in the box, we're going to have to go with the next in line, which I think is probably T. Mm-hmm. And then after that, we're definitely going to get Otangelo in here, right? Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We're definitely Otangelo. We got a lot of guests waiting to get in. Thank you for being here. Just hold on tight, okay? That guest dropped when I tried to bring him in, so I guess I'll do the one after that. We're going to grab Chuck. And they dropped. Okay, I guess we'll do Johnny. The queue's dropping fast. Welcome in, Johnny.
Hello.
Are you at least 18, and do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay, and which God do you believe in?
Christian God.
All right, and what do you think is the best evidence or argument for the Christian God being real?
Well, I just want to know why God isn't real. Like it says right there, God isn't real. I just want to know why.
Sure, your God's not real because it entails lots of contradictions, and we don't believe that contradictions exist. Unless you have a really good argument that would conclude in your God being real. Do you have one of those?
Okay, you're saying the triune God
So you
doesn't
don't
exist because
okay.
there's contradictions. What contradictions do you have?
To be sure, Johnny, I'm still waiting for an answer to the question. Do you actually have an
Mhm.
argument or evidence for your God being real?
I do, but we're addressing your claim.
Gotcha. Okay, so you do you want to give it or no?
We're addressing your claim.
So it sounds like you don't want to give it.
If you
I
want
want
an
you to give
argument,
the
I'm sure Ian would be
justification for
happy to
your
just give you a positive
Yeah,
argument for God's
well-
non-existence.
Well, let's just make it simple, right?
Yeah,
You know, there are
that's what I want,
contradictions in the
Dr. James,
Bible,
that God
therefore the
isn't
Bible
real.
is false.
Oh my gosh, the Bible really?
You're a
Sorry, you
Christian.
Can't even attempt.
God, you're going to make me defend the thing that I believe in? How dare you ask me to defend the
No,
book which I believe
thought
in?
maybe you could attack the nature. Maybe you're gonna attack like some temporal type of contradiction or something. But the Bible, Ian,
He can do all those things. He started with the Bible. So
Yeah.
If you were just a nondescript theist, then you would have heard some philosophical argumentation. But you're
Yeah,
not. You're a
sure,
Christian.
sure.
Yeah, it's like a fairy tale to your belief, right? Like
Well, we can start
obviously
from a
I'm going to
deistic view,
attack the
then we can get to
plausibility of
Islamic.
like fairy tales being real.
yeah, like Johnny,
Wait,
if
we-
you
we
were
can start
debating
from the
against
deistic
somebody who is Muslim, wouldn't you attack the Quran?
No, I'll attack the nature of their God.
You don't know anything about the nature of their God without the Quran.
I'll know what they reveal to me.
No, you don't know that. They don't know that. The nature
I
of the
do.
God is described in the Quran.
Okay,
Is
I
it
would
within
attack
God's
the Quran
nature to change his
automatically.
mind?
No.
Oh, what about
Well,
that
we can start
time
from
in
deistic.
Exodus where he changed his mind?
Can we start from a deistic perspective, and then we can move? Then we
Oh,
could go to a big.
Oh,
gosh,
definitely
little
don't
bro
talk
got
about my
spawn
God.
killed.
I definitely don't
No,
want to talk about
we can
mine.
move.
Let's talk about a
We
deistic
have
God
to.
that's
We first
completely
have to establish a
unfalsifiable.
deistic basis. We have to establish a deistic
No, we
basis
don't.
first, and then we can go on to a
You
biblical.
don't
Yes, we
believe in a
do.
do you believe in a deistic God?
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. You believe in a Christian God, liar.
Can you imagine
I
how
said we have to
embarrassing
start
this
from
must be
deistic
for
basis.
Jesus? You know, his
Yeah.
believers won't even claim to believe in him.
Yeah. If you deny me before men, I'll deny you before my Father
I
in
don't. I
heaven. What do
don't
you think about
deny
that
him. I
one?
just want to start from a deistic
Sounds
view.
like you're denying him
You don't
right
want to do
now,
that.
aren't you?
Jesus is
No,
crying
no,
right
just
now.
Lord
You
of
just
the
said that you
Bucks.
believe in a deistic God or a theistic God, didn't you? Not Jesus.
I said we should start from a deistic standard.
Why? You don't believe in a deistic God, and the deistic God is incompatible with the Christian God.
Look, we don't
Because
believe
you
in it. You don't
attack.
believe in it.
You're
Why would we
supposed
talk
to
about it?
attack. You're supposed to attack what, not who.
the
Who
the
doesn't
what
determine
the
what?
what is the
We're-
Christian God, and the Christian God isn't deistic.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
what is gonna be the nature. Who is gonna be any relation? You
No.
attack the nature. You don't attack relation.
The nature of the biblical God is different than the deistic God, so you're still not helping yourself.
We're not talking about the deistic God right now.
I know we're talking about the
Oh, are we
Christian
talking
God.
about the Christian God?
Cool.
That'd be good.
So why would we believe in the Christian God when the book that
Yeah,
describes
why
his
not? Why not?
property is
Let's just do
hopelessly
this Bible thing.
contradictory?
Hurry up. Let's just do this Bible thing. I'll
Sure,
just get
yeah.
this out the way.
Sure, is the
You
Bible
said why
true?
did? Yeah, it's just anthropomorphic language. What's the
Is
problem?
the Bible true?
Yeah.
Is it 100% true?
I just told you it's true.
Okay, so does God know all things?
Yeah. So which claim am I addressing? Am I addressing Ian or you? Because Ian just asked me a question. about
Both.
Exodus.
Both.
All of us, even.
I'm talking
those
about
two different
Ian's
claims.
actual claim. So, if God knows all things, can all-knowing being change its mind about what it knows?
Can an all-knowing being change his mind about what it knows?
Yeah.
No, it's just like I said. It's just anthropomorphic language.
Well, that's not what the word anthropomorphic means. So we'll keep going on the same talking point, which is
Anthropomorphic language
when
is
it
just
says
the
that
language God uses to relate to us.
that's not true. So the
Yes, it
anthropomorphic language is when you describe something
But
that's
I
not
studied
human in.
hermeneutics. Like how the
No,
okay.
no, you didn't.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
anthropomorphic language is when you describe something in human terms, even though it doesn't have human attributes.
Wait, just calm
a
down.
language
It's gonna be
that can
okay.
relate
You sound
to
really
us.
upset.
Who's us? Wait, who's us? When I said language that can relate to us, who is us? Humans.
Yes,
It fits my
yes.
exact definition.
And God can think, and that's not anthropomorphic. That's actually a description of God. Does God have a
Unless
mind?
you think God can't think.
Oh, God has no
Yeah,
free
wait.
will?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, God is one act.
Can God make decisions?
God is one act.
Yeah,
Is
God
Jesus
pure
God?
actual.
Sounds like he'd be a pretty bad play then.
So Jesus is God. God is one
Yeah.
act. How many actions did Jesus take?
How many actions did Jesus take?
Yeah. For example,
Yeah.
was
I know.
multiplying the loaves a separate action from being crucified?
Yeah, I don't think you understand what purely actual action.
I don't think that you
pure
understand
act
that
is.
word hasn't been
Yeah,
used in a
so-
meaningful way for 2,500 years.
Yeah, so when I say pure act, right, I'm a Christian idealist. So that wouldn't negate what you're trying to say. How many did Jesus have multiple actions? That wouldn't negate anything because temporality doesn't really.
Well, you said he's a
negate
single
any
act,
perception.
not that he's
Temporality
pure.
is
I mean,
only
you
a
did say he's a pure act later, but
Yeah, so when I say God is just pure act, right, I'm not saying God is multiple acts.
actions.
God is
Pure-
purely actual.
So what he's saying is God doesn't have any potential. He's pure actualization. When he
Yeah,
uses the word act, it's
just AES, what's the problem?
it's a shortening of actualization. They just
Yeah.
don't say that because they want to sound fancy.
And that's all great and all, except did Jesus have the potential to do otherwise when he was on earth?
No, Bible says Jesus was. Hold on.
So
this
then
was
he has
already
no
the
free
will of
will.
God. No, Jesus already chose to do this eternally. The Bible says that before the foundation of the earth was laid,
No,
the
you
Lamb
can't
was already
make
slain.
you can't make choices if you're pure act.
Yeah, so when we say choice, right? God can only make the perfect choice. There's only one perfect choice. God is pure actual, right? So there's one will He's gonna uphold. That doesn't negate God at all.
Is it possible that Jesus could have not been crucified?
No.
Like, is it logically possible? It's not. It's necessary.
So then God has no free will.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it's logically necessary. Yeah.
Okay, so it's necessary. Did everything that happened to
Mhm.
Jesus, was that necessary? Everything that
Yes.
Jesus did, everything that happened to him was necessary.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you're
Yes.
telling me that it was necessary that the Romans crucified
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
That's surprising, because I would think that would be dependent on their free will.
Yeah. So it's necessary, right? That was gonna happen is because God already deemed it to happen eternally.
Okay, so you don't think that free will is a thing, at least
Yeah, we
not
just
for the
define-
period between like 4 AD and 32 AD.
Yeah, I'm a compatibilist when it comes to free will. There's no problem.
Oh, okay, sure, that's fine. But you're not only a compatibilist about free will, you're actually a necessitarian about Jesus' life.
So wait, did Jesus have the potential to grow in
God
wisdom
can
and
only do
stature?
perfect things. There's not a multiple set of perfect acts. There's not multiple set of perfect things. So one thing is gonna be upheld eternally. God is gonna follow His will.
Did Jesus have the potential to grow in wisdom and stature?
Did Jesus have the potential to grow in wisdom and yeah, I think Romans addressed. Yeah.
But he's not pure act. He has some potential.
Okay, so when Jesus says, right, that he could have became king, or when the Bible describes that he could have became king, so the thing is, Jesus denied that position purposely, right, because that was already in the will of God.
I have no idea
So
what
there's
that
no
even
problem.
attempts to respond to. If Jesus has the
There's no
potential, then he's
problem
not
with
pure act.
Oh, yeah, wait, Jesus doesn't have potential.
But you just said they had
Jesus
the
can't-
potential to grow in wisdom and stature, did you not?
Oh, my bad.
Okay,
I thought you were
did
asking
Jesus have the
something
potential to
different.
grow in wisdom and stature?
Jesus already did. But when you refer to that, you just referred to him being king of the Jews. He denied the position.
Well, I'm asking you, so did he have the potential, after he was born, did he have the potential to grow in wisdom and stature?
When you say potential, are you saying could he make the choice to?
Just in the sense of like potential and actual, like that
Yeah, how are you
potential.
flashing out potential?
Like when you say God is pure potential, whatever
I
you
never
take the
said God is pure
opposite, or
potential.
when you say God is pure act, whatever the opposite of that, i.e. potential, whatever you take that to be, that's what I'm asking.
No, Jesus came down to do one thing.
Okay, so he did not have the potential to grow in wisdom and stature. Then how did he grow in wisdom and stature?
No, all that refers to is just him being king of the Jews. Jesus purposely didn't choose to be king of the Jews because he said that's not his mission.
But he did grow in wisdom and stature, is that correct?
Yeah, it's.
So then he must have had the potential to.
No, it's purely actual.
How could it be
I'm-
purely actual if it wasn't always true?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm a Christian idealist. I think that just flew over your head right there when I.
I
told
think
you guys
he's
I was a Christian.
flailing.
I'm actually curious. So, do humans, as part of our essence, contain both act and potential?
Do humans contain actualization and potential?
Yeah, as part of our
humans
essence.
Humans derive
Like
a sense of
intrinsically,
potential
we
to
contain
actual.
that as part of our essence. That is an intrinsic part of being human.
When you mean so number one, when you mean intrinsically, how are you cashing out the word?
I mean,
intrinsic?
it's an essential feature, an essential
Is it
feature of
essential
being human.
feature for humans to be able? Is it essential? I don't think it's essential for you to be a human. No.
So, is it possible to be human? Is it possible to be human without having potential or without having act?
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Yeah.
explain that? Like how that could be the case?
Yeah. So I think two things that would make up the derivative of a human would be it would be forms of rationality. And second it would be your temporal location, or it would just be your location. My bad.
Well, but look. So you said that it's that if you're human, it does not necessarily imply that you have some potential and that you have some act.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't think for you to participate in the universe of humanness, I don't think for you to participate in it, right? For you to be a particular of it, you need to necessarily have a form of actualization.
Well, I'm just a little confused. So, can a thing exist without having either?
Can a thing exist without having actualization or potential?
Yeah.
It depends what you mean. Like, can you maybe give an analogy?
Whatever you mean when you talk about actual and potential, that's what we're meaning.
Yeah, so when I mean it like that, what the type of question Blitz act doesn't really follow. That's why I asked
Well,
him
no,
in
I
the
mean
beginning
it
and
kind of does. It's
everything.
just obvious, right? Like if a thing exists, then it actually exists, right?
No, that's not what we mean when we say act.
So, well,
When we say
to be
God is
fair,
pure
when we
act,
talk about actual and potential, we talk about the way things are and the way things could be, right?
yeah.
Okay, so the way things are would include the existence of a thing, yeah?
The way
So like a rock
something
has actualization if it actually exists.
a rock has actualization. No. So the participation of existence, right? I don't think it's going to be dependent on a form of actualization.
What do
Although
you mean by
humans do need to be
actualization then?
Wait, I was about to say humans do need to be actualized to exist, but I don't think a human needs to participate within states of potential and actual constantly to be registered as a human under the universal of humanity.
Look, so what do you mean by actual then?
You want me to define actual? So the way I'll define actual is the way something already is, and the way I would define potential is the way something could be.
Right, okay, so humans are a certain way, right? Every human is a certain way. They might be different ways, but every human is some way, right?
Yeah, so the thing is you're trying to divide actualization. Actualization is like existence, it's indivisible. So it's not, you can't really divide it.
I don't know what that means. Look, you said actualization, or a thing is actual when it describes like the way
there's no
a thing
distinction
is.
between actualization. There's no distinction between actualization. You're trying to make a distinction between
I'm not.
actualization. It's like
Between actualization and
it's
what?
like
I'm
trying
just
to pull a
asking, do
piece.
humans have actualization? Do they have the property of being actual?
That's not a property.
Wait,
Being
also,
actual isn't a property?
so under this definition, how could a rock lack actuality?
Yeah, so I said that I don't. Wait, hold on. So my original claim was that I don't think for you to be a human, you have to go through constant states of potential.
That wasn't the question.
potential
The
to
question is it an essential part of being human that you have actuality and you have potency?
That you have actuality and potency. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah.
Okay, and Jesus was 100% human?
Mhm.
Okay, so Jesus, as part of being human, means that he has potency?
No.
Oh, sounds like you just affirmed a contradiction.
Yeah. Okay. So let's address this right now.
Please.
Right.
Yeah, because the God of the Bible will never be the God of his philosophical standpoint. That's the problem.
Yeah, I'll address this right now. It's pretty easy. This is like 101 theology.
Please,
Right.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Jesus has two natures, right? The human nature we would call a created nature. So all Jesus did, he just took on this created nature, right? It didn't take away the divinity of his other nature, right? Jesus, the hypostasis, hypostasis, right? That Jesus
Hypostasis.
has. No, you can say hypostasis. It's better to say hypostasis. But it doesn't matter pronunciation of the word, right? As long as you get the concept,
Yeah, it's fine.
right? Yeah, so
then
the
God
divinity.
has parts.
Oh my gosh. Bro,
Wait, are you
can we address
Orthodox?
something at a time?
Are you
we
Orthodox or
address one-
Catholic?
Neither.
Let's say you're Protestant.
I don't put a label on myself, but yeah, sure, I'm
Okay.
informed.
Do you believe that God has parts?
No, I hold to ADS.
Because what you're describing is parts.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
I
if
hold
you have
to
two
ADS.
natures, rather than one nature, that means you have parts.
Yeah, all
Wow.
a part is just like something that you're composed of that isn't identical to like some other thing you're composed of. So you're saying
okay, so-
Jesus has a human nature, he has a divine nature. They're not identical to each other, and he's composed of both of them. That's a part.
Okay, yeah. Wait, hold on. Number one, you're conflating what
The minute
with
they get
who.
onto the Trinity, they're always cooked. There's never been a.
This isn't even a
coherent view of the
Trinity thing. This is
Trinity.
just saying that Jesus is multiple
Yeah,
parts.
wait. So number one, what you guys are conflating, you're conflating what with who. The personal nature is who. That's who, not what. The what would be the.
We're just
A
talking about
nature
Jesus,
is
bro.
a who?
Huh?
A
We're just talking about
nature is a
Jesus.
who?
No, I said the personal nature is who. Or other words, you could say personal relation is who, right?
What's a relation?
And then
How can you have a relation without multiple parts? A relation is described by two or more parts.
yeah, okay. Can we address one thing at a time? I can answer all your questions.
I'm
but
addressing
let
the
me
words
just
that came out of your mouth.
That's all. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. So the way something have two natures within personal relations, right? The way this works within the Trinity,
Two
right,
natures.
is the-
I heard that right? Did I hear two natures?
Yeah.
Jesus having two
Jesus
natures?
has
I think
two
so.
Yeah, Jesus
There's
has
a
two
divine
natures.
nature and a
One
human
is,
nature.
Okay, so
yeah,
he's got
one
two
is
parts. Go
uncreated.
ahead.
One, oh my gosh. One is uncreated. One is not. What's the problem?
Right,
It's
but the
parts.
problem is that the claim is that Jesus is 100% God, right? And one of the
Oh,
essential
you
features
guys,
one of the
it's
essential
like
features
all
of being
pause for
100%
me.
God, right?
I'm gonna put in the app and out. Oh, never mind. Wait,
So one of the
were
essential
paused for like
features
a
of
good 10 seconds.
He's got to
Okay.
go reference his script. He got lost in it.
No, I said
That's
you were
fine.
paused for like 10 seconds.
Oh,
Can you
okay.
repeat what you said?
Yeah. So look, so if Jesus is 100% God, then one of the
Mm-hmm.
essential features of being God, in your worldview, if I'm understanding correctly, is that God has no potency. God is pure act. So that means,
Yeah.
by transitivity, Jesus is pure act.
Oh no,
Right?
hell no. Yeah, so Leibniz
So Jesus
law,
is
number,
not pure act?
well, you guys are all
He's
paused
pure
again.
act except for the potency.
Wait, hold on. You guys are all paused again. Wait, so you're trying to invoke Leibniz law. Leibniz law is categorically dependent.
What are you talking about? I'm talking about
This is
transitivity.
wait, this is basic theology. You learned this. So Leibniz law is
So,
categorically dependent
when you
on the
say
created-
Leibniz laws,
on
do
the
you just
created
mean
order.
transitivity of equality? Like, is that all you're referring to? Because I've never heard it
Leibniz
called
law
Leibniz's law.
is the law of indiscernibility.
Oh my! Who
Or
calls it? Who
otherwise
calls it
in-
Leibniz's? No, I'm referring to transitivity. Transitivity of equality.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
Leibniz law.
using 400-year-old philosophy. I'm using modern analytic philosophy.
Yeah, that's Leibniz law. You're using the law of transitivity or just the law of indiscernibility.
So you're telling me that it's
Well, you
not
guys,
the
like,
case
I
that
don't-
if Jesus,
I maybe
so to be
don't know
clear,
if this is my Wi-Fi, but you guys keep pausing.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
you
you're-
guys are good. You guys are
so
good.
you're telling me that even though Jesus is 100% God, and God is pure act, then that
Yeah,
does
God is
not
pure
mean that Jesus is pure act.
Yeah, so
Okay,
You're
can
trying to say
could you
you-
explain how that could otherwise be the case?
yeah, so just so I don't get anything wrong. You're saying Jesus isn't pure act because he had multiple actions on earth?
Well, no,
Just so
we're
I get
saying
this
that Jesus is not pure act because he's 100% human, and humans, by essence, as you've now agreed, include potency.
Honestly, humans only need rationality to be humans, honestly.
Well, yeah, but you agreed that every human has potency. I mean, unless you want to backtrack that, and then you just have to
but
and then you just have to
but I
explain
said
what
it's
it
not-
means for a human to not have potency.
Yeah, I said every human has potency in actuality, but I didn't say it was necessary for them to have it. I
So
said
you
it's not
don't think
necessary
that
for
every
them to have
human has potency, because Jesus doesn't have
it. I
potency
do
in your
think
view.
every human has potency, states of potency in actuality, but I don't think it's necessary. I'm a Christian idealist, so I only list things within 3 categories: conception, perception, and ontology.
Yeah, we didn't ask. Does Jesus have potency?
Hello?
Does Jesus have potency?
No.
So Jesus is impotent? Cool.
Jesus is pure act.
Okay,
Oh,
wait. So
okay.
so Jesus lacks potency,
You guys
but
now
all
know,
humans
like, being
have
a Christian
potency,
idealist
and
is,
Jesus
like,
is
if
a
you don't, you can
human.
literally just
So
tell
Jesus
that-
both has potency because he's a human, and then he lacks potency because he's God.
Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. So, to be a human, it doesn't necessarily require potency.
But you
Okay,
did
so you're
say
just
all humans
backtracking.
have it.
Yeah, all humans have it, but
Except
it's not
Jesus.
a necessary requirement.
But
What?
okay, would you
We
say
don't
that
make the okay.
does Jesus as a
What'd I
human
say,
have
what?
potency?
Does Jesus as a human have potency?
Yeah.
The human nature, yeah. Human nature, sure.
Oh, okay, cool. So you would say that Jesus has potency.
The human nature, yeah, not the divine.
Is the human nature of Jesus part of Jesus?
Stronger than that. Is it
That's a
100% of
loaded-
Jesus?
That's a loaded question. Wait, that's a loaded question. I can tell you the objectionable premise.
Okay, yeah. What's the objection there?
Yeah, did you just say is that a part of Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're presupposing there's parts in God. I hold to ADS. I already.
I
made
mean,
this
no,
clear.
but like Jesus had like a hand, right? And Jesus had like 2 eyeballs, so he had like parts,
Did you-
definitely.
Bro, I just.
They
told
they're
you
they're
I
like
hold
human
to
parts,
ADS,
but
so he-
I mean, like I don't know why you would say that Jesus didn't have parts,
Well,
like
so when we say
Jesus
God is
had
composite, oh my gosh.
hands,
Okay.
right?
So when
Composite.
when I,
You can't have a composite without parts. This guy's going to super
we don't
hell.
say God
I'm
is
really
composite.
concerned about
I've been repeating.
his
I
theological
just been
viewpoint.
repeating the entire time. I hold to ADS.
How many hands does Jesus have?
0.
So where did the nails go through?
Jesus is immaterial. Now, if you're talking about the human nature, when Jesus was on earth,
No,
he had
I'm
two
just
hands,
asking
two legs.
like where did the nail how many wrists did he
So
have?
when Jesus was on earth, he had 2 hands and 2 legs, a mouth,
Uh-huh.
a nose. Yeah.
Yep, and is Jesus unchanging?
Does Jesus change?
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't change. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't
does
change,
he-
which means that if he had 2 hands and a nose and 2 eyes and stuff on Earth, that means that he has all of those features in his entire existence.
Yeah.
Because he's unchanging.
This is such a silly argument. What you,
You know
Don't say
that-
that he's
once again,
unchanging if you want to say that he's changing.
Yeah.
The Bible,
once again,
the
you're
Bible
conflating
says
who
that he
with
still has
what.
a body, Johnny.
Yeah, it's just talking like spiritually. It's not talking about physically.
Yeah, but
Jesus
it's
Ah,
his
yes,
body.
spiritual bodies, famously
It's his spiritual
spiritual
body.
things,
Jesus
physical
doesn't
bodies.
have a temporal
What's
location.
what is a spiritual body?
I don't even know the verse you're referring to.
He has spiritual hands, Justin.
It's 1 Corinthians 15. Paul goes through great lengths to describe Jesus' body after the resurrection, which is spiritual but still physical. So, what
Does he take
exactly?
spiritual
Talking
poops?
about when Jesus was
What is
ascending.
what is a
What are you talking about?
spiritual body?
He was talking about when Jesus was ascending.
No, he
What are you
didn't.
talking about? Yes, he is.
He didn't say. He did not say that. He says.
You said
he says.
Second
He
Corinthians.
says the
Yes, he is.
1 Corinthians 15 is referring to the body you get after you die, the spiritual body.
Oh yeah. What's the problem? It's
A
immaterial.
body,
sure.
a body is still a body. It's not immaterial. You can't
Yeah,
have an
when it refers
immaterial
to a body,
body.
it doesn't mean you're
What's
gonna
an
hold the fucking
What's an
anatomy of
immaterial
it.
body?
It can mean several things. So if we
Does-
actually look at the word, okay.
Yeah.
Let me know when you're done.
What's the definition of a body?
Yeah, a body could just be something to hold.
Okay, so can you hold something
it can-
immaterially?
Yeah, you could hold
No,
something materially. Yeah.
You're wrong.
Oh, so sets just don't exist. Okay. Yeah, so the number 3. Yeah, sets just don't exist. A body
Hey,
is just a set.
based anti-Platonism?
Yeah, what he just said, you can't hold something immaterially. Do sets
Yeah,
hold things
based.
physically or immaterially?
Sets
actual-
don't exist, based.
The
Yeah, sets
definition
hold
of a
things
body
immaterially,
is
dummy.
a structure.
Yeah, sure. That's fine.
So can you have structure immaterially?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, well then you're in Ian's realm. I disagree with this. Ian, what do you say?
I'm not even sure. I actually have no idea how we even got past like the contradiction earlier, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, neither do I.
Like
You guys
the
want us
idea
to
that
try to
Jesus.
disprove
So
the
when
first
Jesus was on earth, how many hands did he have?
2.
Okay, and did he change to having 0 hands?
Did he change? No.
How many
So then
hands
he
does he
still
have
has 2
now?
hands.
He held 2. Okay. So
You're
I'll
holding
teach you
2 L's
basic-
right now. Just answer the question,
I'll teach you basic theology.
please.
So in the Christian worldview, we claim Jesus has one nature, one uncreated nature, and one created human nature. Right now, I want you to track this: one created human nature, one divine nature, uncreated. Right? Jesus created that nature; it took upon that nature, while the divine nature still existed within the hypostasis. Okay.
When did he
Are you
take on the
listening?
nature?
So within the when did
When
he
did he take
it?
on the nature?
Temporal. Are you talking about temporal? He took on the nature eternally.
The fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I told
Wait,
you. I'm a
so he
Christian
eternally has his human nature, and his
Wait,
human
hold on,
nature
hold on,
includes
hold
2
on.
hands?
Wait, hold on. So I'm a Christian idealist. So
Oh
when,
no,
when
he
humanity is
blundered.
created-
You can
when
tell every
was
time he
created-
blunders, he backs up to "I'm a Christian idealist." It's
That's a good
happened like
point.
3 or
It is
4
tell.
times.
Humanity was
like-
created
Audience,
it's
like
a-
listen
it's like a
for
poker
it. He'll
bluff.
either say that
Wait,
when
when the
went
humanity
over
was
your
created,
head,
the
or "I'm a
nature was
Christian
created. Oh my
idealist."
gosh. When the humanity was created, the nature was created.
Okay.
So I don't think you're understanding the fact I'm a Christian idealist. So time isn't a fucking thing. Time
did it
isn't
again.
really a thing. Like you're not understanding that.
Okay, so he
God
had
has
so
already actualized everything. We're just experiencing it like a movie. It's fucking simple.
let me get this straight. So the human nature includes 2 hands, correct?
No.
I could
Yeah,
have
don't you
sworn
know,
he
Ian?
said
Don't
that.
be ableist.
Wait, so which of his natures has 2 hands?
Yeah, the human nature, all the human nature is just anonymity.
Wait, so is there like something in Jesus that is not identical to his essence?
Is there something in Jesus that's not identical to his essence?
Yeah, because you're saying like
No.
he had at one point he had hands, but it wasn't because of his human nature, and it wasn't because
Uh,
of his divine nature. So there
no.
must be
So
like a secret third thing that accounts for the fact that he had hands.
no. So we say Jesus, it was a human nature. What we say, the human nature was created, right? We say Jesus took up on that human nature, and what makes up that human nature, right? Anonymity, all that it's just a form of rationality, right? That humans hold. I think Aristotle gave that definition, or Plato, one of them, right? Are you tracking me here? Okay, perfect. Now another thing that makes a human, their location, the participation within the
I
universal
thought
of
that you were a Christian
humanity.
idealist. Does location exist?
I did. Yeah, and perception.
Oh, okay, so location exists, but only in perception. There's not an actual place.
Well, I'm still
Well, yeah,
unclear on this, and I'm sorry. I'm
all
sorry that I'm
Christian
not going to allow
idealism
for the
is,
pivot to
Oh,
take
you're right.
place.
You're right.
But I just
it
want to
just believes
know
everything that exists is just a thought of God.
where do the hands come in? When does Jesus get the hands?
It's perception, obviously,
yeah,
Ian. You just perceive Jesus as having hands. He doesn't actually have hands.
When Jesus got his bodily autonomy, right? He took on a vessel, right? The
When?
human nature. He took on flesh. What's the
When?
problem? When? Around 2,000 years ago.
Okay, and prior to that, did he have the potential to take on flesh?
He doesn't. I just showed you God is purely act.
So he didn't have the potential to take on flesh, and then he took on flesh.
God is act. It
So,
already happened.
is that
you're not
correct?
fucking
Is that an
understanding
What do you
accurate
mean by
summary?
already happened? What does that mean?
Yeah, God has already actualized everything.
When?
That's just not true.
Eternally.
No?
God has already actualized everything. Like, what are you talking
No?
about? Yes.
False?
Wait, are you trying to do B theory but also like act potency stuff? Because I'm pretty sure those two things are
B theory
incompatible.
just says that future, present, past are all equally real. I'm saying God has already. Yeah, that is a Christian perspective. Yeah, you got that from the Bible. But yeah.
I'm by the way, I'm pretty
God
sure
has
that's
already
incompatible with
actualized
act
everything.
potency.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure that's incompatible with act potency because then there's just no such thing as potency under B theory.
Yeah, God is.
It's
wait,
not
hold
even
on.
just God. It's like literally there's no such thing as potency because everything is already actual.
Yeah. So number one, B theory. That's just that's purely perception. It falls in the category of perception, not ontology. There's only three categories something will ever fall under: ontology, perception, and conception.
The fuck?
Time
What?
falls under perception.
That's
Perceived
not
time.
true to
Time-
me. That's not like obviously
time
true to
doesn't
me
really
at
have,
all.
Time doesn't have ontology.
And conception is like an event. I don't know how conception has ontology.
No, conception is not an event.
I don't know what you think the
I
word
said
means, but
something
like
either falls into these categories: conception, perception, or ontology. Time is perception. Time
can you
isn't
define
really
what
real.
conception is?
Yeah, so conception would be just what's a simple way I could put it? So just grasping a concept. Honestly, I think that would be the easiest way to
Does perception have
define conception.
ontology? So it lacks being?
Yeah, so when we say ontology, right? Perception, that's just a divine thought.
Wait, didn't you say that there are three different categories
my
of,
gosh.
of ontology?
No,
And
I said
perception
there's
as well?
three categories anything would fall under. Perception,
okay, sure, I misheard.
ontology, and conception. Time is perception. Time isn't really real. It's just the way we perceive things.
Yeah, this guy's a perception anti-realist. He's saying that like perception doesn't actually exist and that conception
No,
doesn't actually exist.
wait, hold on.
In order to
Perception
exist,
does
it would need
exist.
ontology, big dog.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Yeah, so the way we just find ontology, we would just define its substance as being. Time on its
Yeah.
own does not have its own. Time? It's
So
not something
perception
that
is
really
non-being.
exists. It's just time, right? Time isn't really that something exists. It's not like some thing that you're trying to make it to be. Time is just how humans perceive things.
Is
Now, if you wanna
perception
say
in
that
being or
exists-
non-being?
Now, if you want to say that exists, then sure. But it wouldn't fall under the definition of under ontology.
Is perception in being or non-being?
It participates within the universal of existence. So it's
Do you
a
think that's an
particular-
answer to the question?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so perception is in being.
It participates under the universal of being. Yeah.
So then perception falls under ontology.
No, perception. Yeah, perception is not being because it's not identical to existence. No.
Sorry, I take ontology to just be the study of being. If perception is being, then it falls under
Wait,
ontology.
hold on.
You actually
Hold
just
on.
have
You
one
just said
category
perception
here.
is wait.
And
You just
right,
said
like I know
perception is
you're a
being.
Christian idealist. You don't need to remind me, but I think what you are more so is confused.
Wait, hold on. You just said perception is identical to existence. I don't hold that.
I didn't say that it's identical to it. I
Yes,
said
you
that it's
did.
subsumed by it.
No, it's not. It's a
Oh, well, clearly it
particular.
is. If ontology covers
particular
all
under
of being and
universal.
perception has being, then perception has ontology. It's
Wait,
pretty
is perception
simple.
identical to existence? Is perception identical
Nope,
to
it's
existence?
perception is not identical to existence. Nope, but it's
Oh, it's
subsumed
not
by
identical to
existence.
existence? Okay.
Yeah,
does
it's a
perception
subset of
exist?
existence.
Wait. Does perception exist? Yes or no?
Yeah, perception exists. You sound really
Okay,
anxious though.
perfect. Anything under ontology would be identical to existence.
Are
That's what
you
you're not
identical to
understanding.
existence?
No, I'm not identical
And
to existence.
so wait,
no,
where would you
because
fall
I'm
under
a
these
par-
three
I'm a particular.
categories? Yeah,
I
where would
fall
you fall
a
under these three
particular.
categories?
Where would I fall under those three categories?
Yeah.
Um,
Ontology,
uh,
perhaps?
would I fall under ontology?
Yeah, would your existence fall under ontology, perhaps?
There can be there is ontology towards my existence, but I would
Sure.
fall under. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, so then when something is a subset of ontology, then it is subsumed by ontology. So this is actually just one category, it's not three.
No. So
Ian
you're
just
defining
proved the
ontology
Trinity, by the way.
completely different. Wait, yeah, you're defining ontology completely different. I think existence
Just the
is
study of being.
indivisible. Yeah, existence is indivisible, right? You're not understanding that, and I don't think that's getting through your head. You're making
Just
it
as
seem
a
like
as a
existence
quick
is
check,
divisible.
if ontology is indivisible, so I have a no, I actually can't show that on camera. Never mind. Yeah, we have this thing. What was that?
You put it apart.
Would you say that I divided it?
No.
Looks like division to me.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
so
that's a
if
good
you
example of
take
division.
apart-
In fact,
Wait, hold on. Number one, if you take a part of
divided
existence,
by
you're taking the whole
3.
thing. There's no. Wait. Do you think you could take parts of existence and not take the whole thing?
Yeah, like kind of trivially.
Oh,
He just
shit.
did it.
So
He
existence
just
is
grabbed
divisible.
onto a piece of existence.
Wait, hold on. So existence is divisible, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're
Into a whole
agreeing
bunch of
exist-
different things that
existence is
exist.
Yeah.
Are you saying existence is divisible?
Yeah.
Yeah, into like a whole bunch of different things that exist.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Existence
Is this
can be
supposed to
divided.
be a good look for you? Is this
Yeah.
supposed to be like your,
Yeah, okay,
your
okay, yeah,
grandstanding
so since you're
moment?
saying existence
Wow,
can be
you think
divided,
that
okay.
existence has
Oh my
parts? This dumb motherfucker thinks things have
Yeah,
parts.
existence doesn't have parts. No, it doesn't. No.
Can you prove that?
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay, do it.
So so the reason by taking one part of existence, you would be taking the whole thing, right?
So
Is
Hold
this
on, let me
because
get a
ball,
notepad.
Oh my
this ball
gosh.
is all of existence.
Okay, so premise
No, the ball
one.
is not identical to existence.
Is it a
Is
part
the
of
L you're
partition?
taking all of existence? And if
It's a part-
not,
that
how
ball
can
is a
you take just the
wait, hold
L
on,
but
that
not
ball is
all
a
of existence?
particular.
That seems like a contradiction.
Wait, hold on. That ball is a particular. What the fuck are you talking about?
Can you take it?
It's a part.
We're letting him pivot away
No,
from
it's
the
a
proof that existence is
particular.
indivisible, by the way.
That's
is.
fine. This guy's
Particular.
like so confused. I actually love talking to Thomists because everything they say is gibberish and falls apart immediately.
Yeah, I'm not even a Thomist, but I do hold to some Aquinas' view, though.
Yeah.
But there's
Clearly.
no problem with that.
Yeah. How many hands do you
Yeah,
have?
there's- How many hands do I have?
Yeah.
Why does that matter?
I just want to know how many hands you have.
It doesn't matter how many hands I have.
Stop
Oh.
being ableist, Ian. You can't just ask people how many hands they have.
I'm sorry, that was very presumptive of me. I have 2 hands. I think they're not identical,
I
which
don't
means
care how
that
many hands
there would be
you
parts
have.
in existence. You know, I have these 2 existing hands, not identical to
Ian,
each
are you
other,
wait,
and that
are you
means that they're
identical to your
parts.
accidentals? Wait, are you identical to your accidental? Yes or no?
I don't hold to an Aristotelian view, so this language
okay,
is going
so
to be
you don't think
unfamiliar to my
accidentals and essentials
metaphysics.
Do
Well, I'm a
accidentals and
necessitarian about
essentials
things, so in a
Do
sense, you'd
accidentals and
probably say that I
essentials
think all
exist?
there is essentials.
Oh, so no accidental. Oh, shit. So you're identical to your height then?
No, that doesn't follow.
No. If accidentals and essentials don't
It's a part of
exist,
my
you're
essence.
identical
My
to your
height is a
height.
part of who I am, but it's not all of me. That doesn't follow.
Yeah, so your height would be what? Accidental or an essential?
I don't use this sort of language on my metaphysics, but I think all my properties are essential. I think
Your
this is the only
metaphysics-
way
you
that
can't-
the
you
universe
can't-
could have played
you don't
out.
have metaphysics. What are you talking about?
Oh, news to
What
me.
form of metaphysics do you even appeal to?
I'm a Platonist.
Oh my. Oh shit. So you don't even believe in universals.
What do you think a
can't ground
Platonist
universals.
is? That's exactly what I believe
Yeah,
in.
wait,
Platonists
hold on.
believe
No,
in
In fact, it's the only
universals.
what
Yeah,
it's the
Plato.
only thing Ian
That's
believes
like
in.
the exact thing
Wait,
that
hold
a
on.
Platonist is
Plato
that they
doesn't
believe in
have wait, hold on.
universals.
Plato just
This
doesn't
guy,
have
this guy thought I
justification for
said you. I'm
universals.
sorry, and maybe I slammed you so hard that you can't tell me
You never
apart from
slam
Dr.
me, Ian.
Blitz.
You can't even define an
But I
accidental.
think that you're just a bit confused about who you're talking to. I said I was a
Yeah,
Platonist,
wait,
and then you
Ian,
said, so you don't believe in
Ian,
universals?
Plato himself said he does not have a justification for forms within
For forms?
within a subsistence. He literally said this
I don't
himself.
hold to word for word what Plato says. I'm a Platonist in
Yes,
the
you
modern
do.
analytic
If you hold, do you
philosophy
hold to the theory of
sense.
forms? Yes or no? Do you hold to
And
the theory of forms?
I hold that all mathematical objects have a form,
You don't
and
believe
those
in
are the only
math.
forms that I believe in.
Ian, you don't believe in math.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
You
theist
don't believe.
crashes out and tells me what I believe in.
Bro believes it so much you
It's
gotta
Wait, do you think
illogical.
you're because
Wait, it's a
you're being
logical
like super
entailment.
bad faith and shutting down? I just want to ask you
It's
one
a
quick
logical
question.
entailment.
Do you think the
I'm saying
Holocaust
it's a
happened
logical
within God's mind?
Did the Holocaust happen within God's mind? Or
Yeah.
That's a defined. Yeah, narrow.
Yeah, you said you're a Christian
I don't know.
idealist. Presumably, you think like all this stuff happens within God's mind, correct?
No, I think everything, right? Everything that exists is just a thought in God's mind.
Yeah. So is the Holocaust a thought? Is all the Holocaust is a thought in God's mind?
Yeah, so when you say that, are you saying that the Holocaust happened in God's mind?
Yes or no? Is the Holocaust a thought in God's mind?
Yeah, I'm asking a clarifying question.
What's the question?
Are you saying like did God recognize the Holocaust in his mind?
I'm asking is because you said everything is a thought in God's mind. Is the Holocaust a
Yeah.
thought in God's mind?
Oh, wait, hold on. All ontology is a thought in God's mind. Yeah, that's the
So
claim.
the Holocaust is a thought in God's mind. Is everything in God's mind morally
Holocaust
perfect?
a fucking ontology? Wait, is the Holocaust ontology?
Is
or it
everything in God's
conception
mind
or
morally
conception?
perfect?
Yeah.
So the Holocaust is morally perfect.
Okay, yeah, here's the thing.
Yikes.
There's a
Ooh.
difference between intrinsic and extrinsic.
Here's the thing: the
could be
Holocaust is actually
extrinsic.
bad.
Yeah,
Something
I don't know about
intrinsic-
that
wait,
one.
Wait, Holocaust is intrinsic. Holocaust is not intrinsic. You're being bad faith and you're just lying. Holocaust isn't intrinsic to God's mind.
But it does follow,
Wait a
right?
minute, hold on. I'm sorry. Are you telling me that there are ways that God's mind could have been, but aren't that way?
Holocaust isn't intrinsic to God's mind.
So could it have been the case that the Holocaust was not part of God's mind?
I just told you Holocaust isn't intrinsic to God's mind.
So you're telling me that God's mind is contingent?
No. How the fuck
Oh,
does that
so
even follow? How do
wait,
you
God's
even
mind
get
is
that?
necessary. The Holocaust is
Yes,
part of
God's
God's
mind is
mind. That means that the Holocaust is necessary. And it's in fact it's necessarily part of God's mind. Seems
Okay,
seems pretty
here's
airtight there.
Yeah, here's the thing. I'm a compatibilist. There's no problem.
Oh, so when he can't say here's the thing I'm a Christian idealist, he's like here's the thing I'm a compatibilist.
Yeah, we already memorized his moveset.
No.
He's like making it up on the fly.
Yeah, but
Up down
you
left
guys are
right
just-
A B. Like
You guys are framing it completely wrong. The Holocaust was not an event that occurred in God's mind.
okay, where did it occur? When did it occur?
God recognized the Holocaust, right? I told you I'm a compatibilist.
So there
I
are
think,
things that happen that are not
determinism
in
is
God's
compatible
mind?
with free will. Free will is compatible with determinism.
Wait,
There's
so
no
are there
problem.
things that happen in the universe, in reality, are there things that happen that are not a part of God's mind?
What do you mean?
Yeah, so
have
you
to be a
said
little
that
bit
the
more
Holocaust is
specific.
not a thought in God's mind. Are there things that happen in the world
Yeah, when we
understood
say
broadly?
thought, wait, hold on. Oh, yeah, I see where your big blunder comes in. You're mistaking this.
Of course,
You're
Blitz's
mistaken
big blunder.
Yeah, you're mistaking this. So when I say thoughts, right, all I mean is that logic, all those things are just thoughts of God's mind. I'm not talking universals and logic is just a thought of God's mind. Now when we're talking about accidentals and stuff like that, those things aren't necessarily intrinsic to the mind of God. They're intrinsic or not. They're not even intrinsic to the mind of humans.
Where
Those
are
things
they?
happen because of the according.
What category are they
because
in?
because of the mistakes of humans.
Are they
Holocaust would
ontology,
go under-
perception, or conception?
Holocaust will go under perception.
Okay, so you
So
don't
you
think that
perceive
the
the
Holocaust has ontology?
No.
Okay, so you don't, and ontology is the study of being. So it sounds like you're saying that
I mean,
you
if
don't
you-
think
wait, hold on.
the Holocaust had being. Are you telling me
Wait,
that the Holocaust didn't happen?
Well, hold on. If you're saying the Holocaust has ontology, then I would ask
Diabolical.
you, is the Holocaust a universal or particular?
Look, if you just want to
Is the
say the
Holocaust
Holocaust didn't
universal or
happen, it's
particular?
fine. You can say that. We'll just kick you off afterwards.
Is the Holocaust a particular or universal since it has an ontology?
I don't think that ontology is divided between particulars and universals. I don't think that that's a well-defined notion.
You're saying something. Wait, you're saying something have an ontology but not be within the universal or particular?
Did you just call something a universal particular?
That's what I heard.
I said, can something have an ontology but not be within the category of universal or particular? Yes or no?
Sure, it can have it. Something could be universal and have
Can it-
ontology.
can it-
Something
is
could
it-
be
is it
particular.
necessary- isn't that-
Something could be
is it
particular and have
necessary, yes or no?
ontology. That's fine.
No, if something exists, would it have to necessarily be under a universal or a particular? Yes or no?
So I don't know what you mean by
And
under
I
universal or
just want
particular.
you to say no, Blitz.
I'm answering your
praying
question.
You say no.
I'm
Say
answering your
no.
question.
I'm praying you say no.
I'm answering your question.
ahead.
So I don't know what you mean by under a universal or particular, but
Oh my
it
gosh.
makes sense. It makes sense to me to say that things that have ontology can either be universal or they can be particular.
Okay, what is it necessarily the fact that has to fall under those two categories? Yes or no?
Yeah, I don't think that you could have a third category unless somebody can come up with one. So yeah, I'd be happy to say that all things that exist are either universal or particular. Sure.
So all ontology is under a universal or particular. Okay, perfect. You said
Universal or
Holocaust has an
particular, right?
Okay, yeah. You said Holocaust has an ontology, and you said it's
Yeah, I
not
would say it does.
perception. Oh, okay, perfect. So what universal or particular does
Well,
the Holocaust
I don't.
fall
By the way,
under?
to be clear, I don't agree with your trichotomy about dividing up the world into those three categories. I think that's nonsense.
What I said? Wait. So you think something can exist and not be a particular or universal?
No, I don't think that it's either ontology, perception, or conception. I think that's a nonsense trichotomy.
Yeah. And we kind of demonstrated that earlier. It kind of seems like all of them are
saying
going to
within my
partake in
road- wait, hold on.
ontology.
I'm saying within my worldview. I'm a Christian idealist, so I hold that. So
Yeah, but you take it to be a
once again,
trichotomy,
no,
and you
Blitz,
said,
Blitz, you're not
to be
gonna
clear,
run
you
from
said
this.
it. You
Blitz,
said
you're
it's a
not gonna run.
You said it's a
Blitz, don't run from
trichotomy,
this.
which means that if it's a perception, then it's not an ontology.
Blitz, don't
and if it's
run
not
from
an
this.
ontology,
You
it just sounds like it
you
doesn't
said
exist.
Holocaust. Wait, hold on, Blitz. You said the Holocaust has ontology. You just
Yeah,
and then you just
in my
said-
conception of what the word means, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
But it seems like you're saying it doesn't.
Perfect. Okay, Blitz. Since you said the Holocaust is not just perception, you said it has ontology. Okay,
Yeah, it
perfect,
was an event.
Blitz.
I would say that
Holocaust
events
has
have ontology.
Okay, perfect. Would you agree it's a true dichotomy? Something would either have to fall under a universal or particular. Yes or no? Is it a true dichotomy? I just want a yes or no.
That's agreeable.
Oh, okay, perfect. So what universal or particular does the Holocaust fall under?
The Holocaust is a
Go ahead.
particular. It's a particular event in particular.
Okay. It's a particular. Okay, what universal substantiates that?
I have
Isn't it
no
like a
idea what that
genocide?
question
Wouldn't we
means.
say that like the universal there is like a
Hold
genocide?
on. No. Particulars are instantiations of universals.
Mhm.
You just
I have
said
no idea what
Holocaust
that
is a
means.
Particular.
Yeah, under
You
your
said
framework,
Holocaust
we
is
would probably say
particular.
that it's an instantiation of like a genocide on your view.
Genocide is not a universal.
Oh, and sorry, what do you think the universal there would be?
Yeah, I don't think it has a universal because it's not doesn't have.
Oh,
ontology.
wait, was it oh, fuck, wait, so it can't be a particular.
No.
Oh, we've walked him into saying that the Holocaust doesn't exist. Wait, it's like this. Okay, so the Holocaust doesn't have a universal. All particulars have universals. Therefore,
No,
the
what
Holocaust
the
is
fuck
neither
do you mean all
universal nor
particulars have
particular. Therefore, on
universal?
your view, the Holocaust doesn't exist.
Wait, what do you mean all?
Wait, reject the premise. 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Universals? That doesn't make no
1,
sense.
2, 3, or 4.
That doesn't make
Do you reject
sense.
premise 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Is it true that all things that exist are either a universal or a particular?
Yes, it's true. Yes.
Okay, now is the Holocaust a universal?
No.
Is the Holocaust a particular?
Sure.
Okay, then it follows from what you said that the Holocaust is instantiated by a universal because it's a particular. So which universal is it instantiated by?
I was asking you the question. Why are you shifting the burden?
Oh no, he realized that he fucked up.
Well, look, you were asking me a question about your own
I've been
framework. I
asking
don't know
this
the answer under
question
your
the entire
framework. Do
time.
you
What
have
the
an
fuck are
answer
you
in your
talking about?
framework?
What
What's
are
the
you
answer?
talking-
This
I've
is
been
your
asking- I've been
framework. Of
asking
course,
this
it makes
entire
sense to ask you this
Wait,
question.
hold on. I take that back. I take that back. So
Okay.
all the Holocaust is, it's just perception. It doesn't hold a form. It doesn't hold an actual real form of ontology.
So you're telling me it's not real?
No, it's real within the framework of perception.
Does the Holocaust have being, or is the Holocaust within being or non-being?
No, the Holocaust doesn't have being, because if you were to say it has being, then you say it falls under those two categories. Since it falls under
So-
those two categories, tell me what categories it falls under.
So the Holocaust is non-being. So the Holocaust doesn't exist.
Mhm. I just told you it's perception.
Jeez, this guy's a Holocaust denier.
So it sounds
It's a
like
perception. I agree that the Holocaust happened within a temporal
Look,
space.
so I've been to Austria several times, and I had some really good pretzels, but none have been as good as this.
Yeah, Ian. So, can either of you guys answer the question? You said the Holocaust has being, right? Since the Holocaust has being, is it a particular or universal?
I don't really. We'd say it's a particular.
Oh, it's a particular. Okay. What universal instantiates that particular?
Yeah, it's a particular genocide.
Yeah, genocide isn't a universal.
What's the argument for that?
Wait. Yeah, universals are don't depend on a mind, right? For genocide to happen, it depends on a mind. So therefore, genocide depends on a mind, and it's not a universal.
Wait, is genocide a thought in God's mind?
No.
Where is it?
Or is it?
Yeah.
In the thoughts of humans.
Well, earlier he
Sure,
said it
and where
wasn't
are
God's
the thoughts
mind.
of humans? Where is that?
And the mind of humans.
And where's the mind of humans?
Where's the mind of humans?
Yeah.
We could say the mind of humans doesn't really have like a locate. It's
In
just
God's
you.
mind? Is it in God's mind?
Is the mind of humans?
So are
in
there
God's
minds
mind?
that
You
are
have to-
separate from God's mind?
Yeah, there is.
Okay, so my understanding of Christian idealism is that everything is in God's mind. Is that not your view?
No, Christian idealism makes the claim, right, that universals and logic, right, are just thoughts of God. So we say when we say reality.
And so
is a
genocide
thought-
being a universal is a thought of God.
genocide isn't a universal. That's the fucking.
Wait,
Oh,
so
and what's
was the Holocaust a particular?
Was that Holocaust in particular?
Yeah.
The Holocaust in particular. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and do all particulars instantiate a universal?
No, particulars don't instantiate universals. Hell no.
Oh, sorry, what's your...
Didn't he say that? Didn't he say like just 5 minutes ago that all
I say
particulars
universals
instantiate a universal?
universals instantiate particulars, not the other way around.
Which
He can't
which
make up his mind.
particular does
I've been saying
the
that
number
the
one
entire time. Like, you guys
instantiate?
are just fucking lying on me. What the fuck?
No, I think every
I've been
single person
saying-
heard it.
I've-
I heard it too, Dr. Blitz.
I've been saying universals instantiate particulars. What are you lying about?
Pretty sure you said the exact opposite.
Yeah, could have
should
sworn.
I
we,
never said that.
Should we cut this
Yeah,
fish
yes,
loose?
replay. Yes. Yeah, replay. Go ahead, replay it.
Wait, I mean, we can finish this out, I think.
No, replay it.
What is
I'm lying,
what's the
replay it.
Holocaust? So which universal, or I guess like, is there a universal that's being instantiated by the Holocaust?
Your question is incoherent. I don't get it.
I thought you said that all universals are instantiated by particulars.
No, universals instantiate particulars, not being
Okay.
instantiated by particulars.
Yeah, so
So-
then which universal instantiated the Holocaust?
Yeah.
No, so I don't think you're understanding.
Despite your repeated contradictions, you believe that there is at least a relationship between some particular and some universal. What is the universal that has a relationship with the Holocaust?
We could say perception.
Perceptions, what does that mean? How is perception, what is perception as a universal?
What is perception as a universal?
Like, what does it mean for perception to be a universal?
Yeah. All
Because
it means
to be
is that
clear, the universal versus particular divide you said was a divide amongst things with ontology, and perception is
I
not
didn't.
such a thing.
Isn't
I'm so
perception
sorry. Wait,
independent?
when we said that the Holocaust was a particular, you then asked what universal does it instantiate? That happened like twice.
and then you're trying to ask me the question when I've
So
been asking.
yeah,
you this
what
entire time.
universal does it instantiate?
Yeah, so you're trying to switch the question on me, even though that's what I've been asking the entire time to show.
Well, look, I
Blitz's
don't think that
absurdity.
universals exist, by the way.
Oh,
But
okay,
you and I have
universals
different
don't
metaphysics.
exist. Okay.
You and I have different metaphysics, and we're
Okay,
currently
perfect.
examining your
Blitz, if
metaphysics.
universals don't exist, particulars don't exist either. So that
No,
means the
that
Holocaust
doesn't
isn't
that
particular.
doesn't follow from my metaphysics.
Wait, Blitz,
What's the
you think there could be
argument?
particulars without universals?
Wait, sorry, what's the
Yeah.
argument, Johnny?
So a universal is literally defined as an instantiation. A particular is defined as an instantiation of a universal.
This
In-
fucking
So your
scumbag! He
Wait,
did
so
it
to be clear-
again!
What?
That's really funny.
What?
You literally just flip-flopped again.
Wait, what'd I say?
You said that a particular is defined as an instantiation of a universal.
Yeah, particular.
Blunder,
Instantiation.
big dog. So the Holocaust is a particular is an instantiation of a universal. What's the universal that's instantiated?
It would just be, sure, let's say being.
All of it?
Being? So it's not perception, it's ontology.
No.
Oh. So how is it
Because when you say-
instantiating the universal of being if it's perception and perception is not being?
It's some of that non-ontological being.
Yeah, perfect. So with the
All right. We done here, boys?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
I
All right,
think we've
we're
had
done
enough
here.
fun. Listen, Johnny,
Atomistic world.
we have a really fun time chatting with you. It was real. It was fun. I wouldn't say it was real fun, but thanks for coming up. And I thought it was exciting. When I watch a debate about philosophy and it's exciting, that must mean it's good, because usually I get bored of them. But I was not bored of this one. This was a good one.
Yeah. He's at the perfect level where he thinks he knows things, but he's actually like deeply confused about all of it. So he'll say one thing and then he'll step into like a bear trap, and then he'll try to get out of the bear trap and he'll fall into like two more. It's a riveting philosophy debate.
But Ian, I learned all the buzzwords. Don't you just need buzzwords?
Exactly.
Space Lord, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, should we interfere?
Don't
with
you mean
another's-
Spache Lord?
Maybe. So should we interfere with another's free will choices if God does not? Do we know better than God? I mean, we brought this up before. Like, if free will is the most important thing, then we shouldn't be like healing people. We shouldn't be like saving people from death. Like we shouldn't be interfering with it with anybody's situation. But the reality is, the free will argument is just there to explain why God lets horrible things happen. And Duke says Ian just got raptured. Well, Ian did come back actually.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
I rose.
He returned.
Indeed. Within a generation, I might add. Judah says, if you three were the Trinity, who would be the Father, Son, and Spirit? Well, listen, I would have to be the Father because I'm the oldest and I'm the asshole. And we've all read the Hebrew Bible. The asshole in the Bible seems to be the
I think
Father.
I get to be Jesus then, because I'm the nice one.
Yeah, and you got long hair.
That's true. And I'm Jewish.
Yeah. And I can be Spirit because I work at Spirit Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Checks out.
Duke says, oh my Doug, watching Dr. Blitz and that 2017 NASA paper flurfer many times and wish Justin was there to mute the schmuck.
Unfortunately, muting people on TikTok is tricky because they can always unmute themselves.
Yeah, it's not quite as satisfying, I would add. Steven says, but does Dr. Blitz's cup of coffee have the potential to become cold?
Actually, it doesn't, because I drank it before it did.
Yeah, that
No
checks
potential.
out. Mike says, tea is like the horizontal stream, better in every way, praise Doug. Listen, Mike, I love you. We will not be bringing the schism to Unapologetic. Won't happen. Love you, though.
Yeah, but YouTube stream viewers are better than TikTok stream viewers, just saying.
Oh, fuck me. We're starting a battle. Ashura says, Gladys is the only being more evil than Yahweh.
This is another Portal reference that you're not going to catch.
I don't know any of these guys. I'm sorry.
Oh my God. You don't even know the ontological status of the cake, do you?
No, I do not. I've heard rumor that it's a lie. It's a rumor. Adam says, did God limit himself? Still had Control Z available? That's the problem with the God limited himself argument, is he always has the ability to unlimit himself, which means he's never actually limited. When you're limited, it means you don't have the ability to be otherwise. That's my take on it. Space Lord says, God in the New Testament before the crucifixion, I'll show me. That's so fucking good. Oh my gosh. And Roth says, guys, argue with my opinion of a God that can morph at any time to fit my argument, not my actual biblical beliefs. Yes, this is true. Most people come up with philosophical arguments for God are not arguing for the God they believe in, but the God that makes their argument sound better, which is never the biblical God. And Ken Best, thank you for the super chat, says this caller is a victim of Stockholm Syndrome. And to be fair, I think many of them aren't they? I don't know if there's a whole lot that aren't. Gabriel says, if God is all-knowing, he knows what he'll do forever, right? Doesn't that mean he has no free will? That's my take on it, Gabriel. I do not believe that God actually have free will given the omni properties. And Miko, thank you for the super chat.
That's a really good one.
It's true, and that means it can't be the biblical God, because in Exodus 33:5, God makes decisions. In fact, he says that he needs to make a decision in the future. It says, and so God bless you, my sweet child and wife. James wrote to Villiers when Villiers was in his 30s. James did not marry Anne of Denmark when she was 14, though still not good. I think, Miko, you're referring to possibly our offline discussion about whether or not King James diddled children. And the discussion is around what did King James mean when he talked about Villiers, or Villiers, I think is maybe how the French would pronounce it. Did King James, his mention of his lover being a child, does that mean that he had relations with him prior to him actually being an adult? I think the jury's still out. Either way, I don't think it's a good look if you're King James. I'm not sure it matters. Like it's kind of an irrelevant point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true of, like, to be honest, like every single historical figure that you look up to. Like that is, like, unironically what every single one was doing, and that's bad, but that is what they were all doing.
Right. And last one for now from Carissa. Great to see you, Carissa. Thank you for 20.
That's
20
enormous.
Unapologetic gifted memberships. Thank you so much.
That's bigger than the previous guest's ego.
I know. That's hard to do, actually.
Quite challenging.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. I think we're getting, maybe by next week we'll get up to 100 members. We're excited for the growth. Thank you so much for everyone who likes, shares, supports, and contributes to the show. We really appreciate it. Now, we've got a couple people waiting to get in. Do we have any preferences on who
Let me take a look. Pensive wants to play devil's advocate. No, Pensive is not allowed. I don't think that there's any other preferences, though.
Yeah, I think have we talked to Wooby before? I recognize the name.
I don't recognize it.
Okay, Wooby was here last week and we didn't get to Wooby. So I think maybe we can be charitable and bring Wooby in now rather than making Wooby wait yet another week or two to get in.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Pensive's a theist now?
Oh, what about that? Okay, well, Wooby
What a world
dropped.
to live in.
So Wooby won't be coming up.
Yeah, but if we bring up Pensive, it's going to be 45 minutes of Ian and Pensive saying big words.
Which is fun. We don't have that much time. Jimmy was in the guest queue the longest after Wooby, I believe. We'll try Jimmy. I don't think we talked to Jimmy either. Jimmy, welcome in. Are you at least 18 and do you believe in God?
Yes, I'm 29 and I'm Catholic, question mark. And my real name is Joshua, so I spoke with Ian last week. I sent a DM to Dr. Blitz like a couple of days ago, so I'm trying to get into the space the best that I can.
Well, it sounds like you might believe in God. You don't know if you do.
Yeah, so that's the thing is, like, I'm currently in the process of deconstruction, but I'm also like in the same way that, like, you know, like classical conditioning responses. Like, you know how you remove the meat and ring the bell and the dog still salivates, and that's kind of what's happening here. Is like I've removed.
That happens to me when I go to Chipotle, by the way.
Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Dr. Blitz, that made me laugh. Like, so I've been working on my computer while I've been listening to you guys, and the spiritual poop comment made me laugh my fucking ass off. That made me laugh really hard. So thank you for
glad.
that. But anyway, no, I had some. So I've been talking with some theists,
Jimmy, you sound delightful, but we are pretty strict on this stream that this is a debate stream, not like a shoot the breeze stream. So unless you're like a believer, and you want to debate us,
I got some arguments for you. I got some arguments for you, but at the same time, I want to respect your time.
Right, but we want to argue people who really believe it, not people who don't know what they believe. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. In which case, it was good talking to you. And really quickly before I go, Dr. Blitz, do you do lives like on the regular? Like, are there certain times where you're like live? Because I do have some questions about
5 days a week.
Like...
If you have specific questions, the way to get those answered is either A, send a super chat while I'm doing my Ask a Physicist live, because those get priority. That's on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at, I guess, 11 a.m. Eastern time is when I start. Or just join my Discord and then like at me, and I'll probably respond that way.
Especially if there are like thoughts that you have about quantum mechanics.
Yeah, that's actually I
Ian,
did have.
I hate you so much
about that.
You should write them
But
down,
anyway,
especially if it's like an interpretation, like especially if it's like a novel interpretation. You should write them down, and then Dr. Blitz can answer them.
I should do a. Somebody just said, "Do you do Cameo?" I should start doing Cameo. That'd be so funny.
all right. Well, I don't want to waste you guys' time. Thank y'all very much. I'll have a wonderful evening. Okay.
Take care, bud.
Cheers, you do the same. For everyone else in the box, we love and appreciate you, but this is a debate stream, so we just ask that you come up to debate the position that you hold. If you're deconstructing, like, you know, we love that for you. We're excited about it, but we're trying to debate people that are going to bring a real debate, not like a shoot the breeze conversation or a shower thought.
There's Catholic Thinker on
I think that's
YouTube.
Yeah, let's bring up Catholic Thinker. He has books behind him on a green screen. But who am I to complain? I have equations behind me on a green screen, so
Not too much on books behind you, Dr. Blitz.
I mean, I have a green screen and then a TV behind me.
No, just don't make fun of books behind you too much.
Yeah, but yours are real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wait a minute, all three. Oof.
You're the weird one here, Dr. Blitz.
You're right. I've been had. All right, Catholic Thinker. How's it going?
It's going great. How's it going for y'all?
A-okay.
So, as the name implies, I am Catholic, and I am over 18. I'm actually 32 years old. And I know y'all want to debate strongest arguments for the existence of God. Would you be open to debating an argument on why it's reasonable to believe in God?
I don't really, because okay, probably the contention that I would have with that framing is that you could give me like a story about how Jesus came down, you genuinely saw him, and he like shook your hand and he was like, "What's up? I'm Jesus." And he like answered a couple of questions for you. And at that point, it might be reasonable for you to believe that Jesus exists, in the same way that if you were in the woods and you saw Bigfoot, and you hung out with Bigfoot for a week, it could be reasonable for you to believe that Bigfoot exists. The problem is that for things like that, it's just not evidence for anyone but you.
So the good news is that I am not making an argument from experience. I forget what the terminology for that is. It's a variation of the fine-tuning argument.
Oh boy.
I was going through an a process for myself where I was taking very poor arguments for God and seeing, okay, if I was to present these in as strong a light as possible, how would I do it? And, you know, for the fine-tuning argument, this was something that I created, or the variation that I created, and I'm trying to see if I was essentially successful or not.
Sure, go for it.
So, the premise of it is based on the fact that in order for the universe to exist as it did, I know that there's positions out there where it's like the universe had to exist the way that it does. However, there's, what was his name? Lee Smolin calculated the odds of life-compatible numbers by chance is 1 in 10 to the 229th power. And this has led a lot of scientists out there to come up with the multiverse theory, where you had a near infinite, if not an infinite number of instantiations or occurrences in order for the universe that we currently exist in to exist nowadays. Have I presented that accurately?
I don't think it's the case that Lee Smolin's calculation is the reason why people started thinking about multiverses. Multiverses fall naturally out of the string landscape. Multiverses fall naturally out of or the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. I don't think Lee Smolin's computation really has anything to do with why people started thinking about these things.
Fair enough. The point was more of people using the multiverse as a response to it, but I will admit that multiverse has existed quite possibly long before. But the argument is that because of the odds being extremely low, you know, multiverse is given as a reason why, and I forget the name of the theorem, but the idea is that if you have two explanations to account for the occurrence of something that is a statistical anomaly, the one that enables it to be more often is the one that one ought to hold. So, for example, if you come across an individual that shuffled a deck of cards and he deals out a perfect flush, you're more likely to assume that he's a card shark than that the result occurred randomly.
Yeah, sure. There's a failure of the analogy here, though, and here maybe you just don't like this, but like I'm gonna question Smollen's premises. Like,
Mhm.
on what grounds do we have to think that like the constants that describe our universe could have been any different?
Yeah, and like I said, and that's perfectly fine and valid. The account that I was going at was more of, like I said, the fine tuning. If the universe is fine tuned, which is where the premises of Lee Smolin is coming up with, if we accept
Mhm.
that as the premise, then these are
Right,
the
but why
natural
should
conclusions.
anyone accept that it's fine tuned? That's the question,
Yeah,
right?
not sure. And like I said, if people have a different understanding of how the universe came to be, that's perfectly fine. I know that there's um, deterministic, where the universe always existed, and where it doesn't matter how, or I'm sorry, you can't even like ask how the universe came to be because the universe always was. So in that case, there's no fine tuning that needs to be responded to.
Well, that might not be the case. I mean, you can still talk about why is it, like, even if the universe has always existed, you might talk about why the universe is this way rather than that way. The question is we just like one of my issues with the fine tuning, and there's a lot of issues with fine tuning, but one of my issues is just that like we are so far from having any sort of understanding of the probability space of
Yeah.
like the ways the universe could be, that it just seems like it's a little bit too soon to be able to make any sorts of these arguments.
And like I said, that's fine. It was just more of, hey, if the fine tuning that scientists have been using, because Lee Smolin is a award-winning physicist and
Sure,
has,
but like there are other award-winning physicists
yeah,
who hold different views, right?
absolutely. And like I said, this was an exercise as far as like if fine tuning as the scientific community is ascribing it. So I'm not trying
I don't
to
I don't think that that's like some like consensus
right.
amongst the scientific community.
Yeah. And I wasn't trying to say that it was. The exercise that I was engaging in was from this worldview, as defined by the scientific community, what are the logical conclusions that we can come to it?
Yeah,
So,
so if you grant fine tuning, then now you need to explain something. Now
mhm.
there's a whole slew of plausible explanations. And it's actually not clear to me that God is even a plausible explanation to explain the fine tuning.
And that's where I was getting at, or getting towards. So the purpose of this was less of arguing whether the universe was fine tuned or not.
So
It was
suppose that it is. How do you figure that God is a good explanation for that fine tuning?
so going back to the um, holding to the explanation that brings about the improbable outcome more reasonably or more often than not. A lot of
That's
people,
the thing in question, right?
right?
How do you figure that God is more likely to bring about this arrangement?
Yeah. So you have a possible explanation in the multiverse.
Sure.
An infinite amount, like the idea is like you shuffle the deck of cards an infinite amount of times, eventually you'll get a straight flush dealt out. At least that's the way the argument goes. However, as you've pointed out, we only have this one occurrence and this one instance that we can observe. So to assume that the dealer shuffled an infinite amount of times before you came on and observed it is kind of a reverse gambler's fallacy.
Look, that's
But,
not what I'm suggesting. I'm not
oh, I
suggesting
was
that the multiverse is a better explanation. I'm challenging that I don't think
yeah.
the God explanation is an explanation at all.
So if the multiverse is not a good explanation because it falls into that fallacy, then we need to find an explanation that doesn't
Yep.
fall into that fallacy,
So
that is reasonable And like I said, this wasn't me trying to prove or demonstrate that, hey, Dr. Blitz.
No, I understand. Look,
maybe I can ask like a question that might get this like rolling kind of in the direction. Why does God want these constants as opposed to some other ones?
So that's not what the argument's designed to do. And I did hear y'all talk about like a lot of people are not arguing for the God of their religion. And right now, maybe I am guilty of it.
How are you? How is fine tuning expected on your worldview?
It's not really.
Then it seems like God does not explain fine tuning. Then
yeah.
So
that's the end of the argument, I would imagine.
Well, so within my worldview as a Catholic, fine tuning is not necessary for it.
It sounds like this is not an argument for your God, then.
Yeah, maybe there's like a bit of confusion about like evidence, like what evidence is, how it works. So what evidence is, it's something that's more likely on one explanation than on the opposite. So we would take the probability or like, how expected is it that God would fine tune the universe? And if it's not expected that God would finely tune the universe, well, then you can't appeal to that as the explanation because we don't even think that he would do that.
So allow me to clarify that. Whether or not God fine-tuned the universe is not necessary within the Catholic worldview.
Okay.
Is it necessary within any theistic worldview?
There are some theistic worldviews where, yes, it is necessary. And all I was trying to do, like I said, is just more of, hey, is this an argument that shows that it's at least reasonable to be open to or to hold to?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so the issue is that in order for a worldview to be better explained, in order for some fact about the world to be better explained by one worldview than some other worldview, which is what we're doing. We're doing worldview comparison.
Yep.
You should have that one of the worldviews predicts or is more likely to lead to a certain outcome than the other worldview is, right? But the key contention here is that a God existing is not more likely to lead to this particular set of constants. Like a God existing of any kind, unless you fine tune your God and you say, oh, the God that I believe in is the God that made this universe with these constants, of course.
So it could be the case that I am misunderstanding the theorem or the practice, and the name is slipping my mind. But like I said, it's the one where, like, if you come across a situation that has
You're thinking of Occam's razor, roughly.
It's not quite Occam's razor, but it's within that same general ballpark.
Or are you thinking of like Bayes' theorem?
I think so.
So Bayes' theorem requires that your explanation makes whatever is your explanation, it makes the thing that it's trying to explain more likely if your explanation is true.
Yes.
But the God hypothesis doesn't do that.
Okay. And
I
that's
mean,
fair enough.
like it's not clear that the God hypothesis, whichever God you believe in, makes it the case that it is more likely that the universe would be fine-tuned, because the God could have produced life in any way. It doesn't require particular laws of physics to make life if this is a God, right? But look, Catholic Thinker, we have a hard cutoff in like 13 minutes, and we have 20 super chats to get through.
Yeah, honestly,
so we are going to let you go.
That's perfectly fine. Y'all pointed out the flaw in my argument, and that was why I wanted to jump on. So
hey, well, we appreciate it, Catholic Thinker.
Yeah, I will also point out too,
faith.
Catholic Thinker, like it's really nice to see people that are coming up in good faith. Like when we get like the first guest that started the live stream, they're super annoying because they're not really here in good faith. And I would much rather talk to someone who's here in good faith, whether they have a good argument or not, than someone who's like dodging all questions and not able to follow the logic. So thanks for that.
Absolutely. And if it's any consolation, I do have an argument that I do believe proves God, but I'm trying to translate it into the modern vernacular, and I'm still working on that. So
keep working on it.
If and when I do,
yeah, feel free to come
be
back.
Yeah,
but thank you so much for being here,
please.
Catholic Thinker.
Yeah. Cheers. Nice kid. Hope
yeah,
he
definitely.
deconstructs. Well, friends, we're going to read some super chats here before our cutoff. Cynthia says, pre-workouts made me addicted to caffeine. And I got to be honest, Cynthia, that's a real thing that can happen. I don't know if you're saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's certainly a consequence that could happen. And Oren Patch says, Ian's nature changes tea to coffee. Say it ain't so.
Ian has potency?
Yeah, I do. What are you gonna do? How does that make you feel?
What instantiates your particular universal
say-
of having potency?
Mom, Dad, I have potency.
Millet Matt says, what did you main in Wizard 101 or Toontown?
I played both of those games, and I don't remember either. I remember
Yeah.
I played Toontown. There was like a free version of Toontown, which was like a crappy version, but also I was like 8, and my mom didn't buy me subscriptions to games, so
Good.
who knows?
Good
I only
mom.
know Toontown as the fictitious city of Roger Rabbit in the Who Framed Roger Rabbit film. That's how old I am.
I didn't play Wizard 101. I played World of Warcraft, and I mained Rogue.
Ah, you were probably one of the guys that ganked me, like
was.
over and over again.
I was.
Such says,
To be clear, I played Sorcerer. That's why.
maybe you guys can help me with this super chat. Read the book. If anyone builds it, everyone dies. Do you know?
It's a book about AI that I've heard about.
Oh, I have not read the book.
I think it's
now
about
want
was
the
it called Sorcerer?
singularity.
I don't even remember. That was a class, right?
God, Dr. Blitz. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. I can't remember anything about
All right,
Wizard
hold on.
101 at this
I think
point.
it
Or not
was.
Wizard 101.
It was
about-
it was
wow.
the non-mage caster. Warlock. I'm sorry, it's that one. I
Yeah, I
was
was like, what do you? What, I was
Yeah, I
confused.
played
I was like,
Warlock.
what is a sorcerer? I know that there are mages.
Like
but-
in D&D and like all these fantasy games, like Warlock and Sorcerer, these are like interchangeable.
That's get him. This guy's
get me.
infiltrated our ranks. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Get him.
Robert says, Justin, are you saying Roko's basilisk is going to be real with AI? I mean, basically, yeah. We have no way, not a great way of ensuring that AI won't eventually overtake us. The only way to do that is to make sure everybody is always on board with making sure there's some sort of a kill switch or mechanism of preventing it from turning on us. And we can't guarantee that humans will always do that. There are some humans who won't do that. There might be someone who creates AI robots specifically as a military weapon with no backdoor so that we can't undo it. And then it's like when we imported the ladybugs in America to kill like little tiny insects in our crops, and then it turns out that they just became an invasive species. It could be like that.
I feel like there are like physics problems with the concept of Roko's basilisk, like the idea of like an all-knowing AI that doesn't seem possible insofar as there's like multiple different ways that like a certain thing could have gotten in a certain state that it's like not possible to run it in reverse.
Yeah, I mean, there's also a whole bunch of issues with like turn completeness and like being able to know the solution to the halting problem.
Yep.
So, by the way, Ian, what's his face? Dixon says, watch this fictional movie Tenet, Ian. It debunks your cause and effect argument.
Thank you.
Duke says, I mean, God is single after they retconned Asherah. Yeah, I mean, once either that or he got a divorce and had to get the evidence out or get rid of the evidence. He didn't want to look bad. That certainly is a possibility. Or maybe he cheated on Asherah and she left. I don't know. There's a lot of questions to be answered. Jim says, the convo, no idea. The kitten battle, amazing. Yeah, they do that. They go from napping to battling at the drop of a hat about 15 times a day. Reverend Nate says, Johnny is converting me from atheist to anti-theism. What an arrogant and dishonest caller. Dunning-Kruger would be telling him to sit this round out. We agree. At least he was entertaining, though. We'll give him that. And leftover
And in his
mana,
defense, he is a Christian idealist. You know, he's working with a losing hand.
He doesn't have hands, remember?
Yes, that's right.
he doesn't know the particulars of his own stance, which is fine. Because anyway, leftover man, it says, what did they call followers of Pythagoras? Nothing. Everyone who didn't believe was obtuse. Oh, fantastic. I mean,
I call, all of them, they're a cute bunch.
if I knew something like a joke for isosceles, I would make it. But I guess I'm all out of jokes. No more triangle puns left. Design says, okay, if God existed before Caller's Holocaust apologetics, it's almost certainly now dead of shame. maybe the one he's advocating for. And C Design says, thanks, Blitz, for clarifying on Noether's theorem. My point was the universe may be eternal, but we can't use energy conservation as a reason why.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So energy conservation doesn't really get you to an eternal universe. But if you assume energy is conserved, then you can assume that the universe must be eternal. Then it follows, right?
I think that's where I'm at. And Nightman says, sounds like Johnny worships at the altar of Q-Top. They even have similar mannerisms.
You know, I was thinking that. He even sounded like Q-Top.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely been studying the Q-Tip.
One of Q-Top's 3 followers that he didn't buy.
Right. By the way, if anyone's wondering why Q-Top has so many followers, just know that most of them are bots. You can't have 1 million followers and have 200 people in your live stream. And only 1,000 people watching your videos.
200 people in his live stream must have been a good day for Q-Top. The last time I checked, he was at like 90.
Blah, blah, blah.
He's gonna get overtaken by like who's like some irrelevant. He's gonna get like overtaken by Gabe one of these days.
Dr. Dave says, okay, here's my spiritual super chat from my spiritual pockets. Dogmatically speaking. Oh, that's good. I'm an atheist. Are you tracking? Oh, those 2 kitties. Well, Dr. Dave, we're glad that you enjoy the kitties. They're fantastic. And dogmatically might be a catchphrase that starts in the
That's
DZ
good.
themes or streams. I mean, we'll see. We're going to make that catch on, Dr. Dave. Reverend Nate says, Johnny, this isn't your show or your audience. Shut up once in a while. Instead of waiting to reply with more smegma vomit, these lads tried to meet you halfway until you decided to lie and cry. You know what? To be fair, is possible to Johnny. Like, I agree with you, Reverend. But when Johnny does get that way, it does make for an entertaining dialogue session. Watch somebody get, like, crash cooked like that. Brenda says, yesterday I saw a deer. Congratulations.
Brenda, that's amazing. What kind of deer was it?
Hell yeah. And Optimus Rhymes, good to see you, says, Ian, I heard a Philbro say a formal syllogism can have multiple premises. Is that true? Or was he just...
Formal syllogism can have, yeah?
They kind of have to?
As
Yeah,
many as
like,
you want.
oh, Deathless Light would take big issue with that claim, Dr. Blitz.
I know.
The 0 premise syllogism, thus the conclusion.
Actually, we've heard quite a few conclusions with no premises before in this space. Infamous says, I choose the UA hamburger stream over the horizontal of vertical. What? Friends, the Unapologetic stream only has on YouTube a horizontal. On TikTok, it's vertical because, I mean, it's TikTok. You know what I mean? But you don't have to choose. You can watch both of them. Double fist
At
it.
the same time.
Yeah. Philip says,
And then
sure
afterwards, too.
Absolutely watch afterwards, like and share. Philip says, I'm sure Dr. Blitz answered this, but what is the equation on the chalkboard? Also, why a chalkboard? Too many unpleasant noises and textures.
Yeah, okay, so I have answered this. So this is a picture that I took in, like, April of 2022. I was working on a project related to my thesis. I guess it was before that. But anyway, I was working with my PhD supervisor while I was getting my PhD. And we were just doing some calculations on the board to try to better understand XYZ problem that was involved. And this was basically scratch work, but it looks very, very intense. And I mean, like, to a layperson, it is. And I thought it made a good, pretty neutral background without being boring. So I just chose it and stuck with it. And if you slander chalkboards again, I will cry.
Yeah, I got nothing against chalkboards. I don't know why we're getting hate up here for chalk. Reverend Nate says, I'd like to call in and debate you on whether or not this is a universal debate show or a particular debate show. That was a fun part of the conversation, though. And Oren says, I can't believe Ian changes tea to coffee. Now my ontology is busted. Thanks for Sunday school. Unapologetic. Ian really let a lot of people down with his coffee announcement.
Yeah.
Meg says, I'm late. Did anyone clarify Morms are literally baptized by immersion for the dead in their temples, not just a grave water sprinkle source? Me, ex-Mormon.
No, nobody claimed that, like, they take the dead people and bring them into their temple. No, nobody claimed that. Don't worry, you can go rewatch.
You're okay. And C Design says, fine-tuning contradicts Christian doctrine. You can't claim life need strict, finely tuned parameters to exist, yet claim life transcends the physical. I kind of agree, C Design. If you believe in an all-powerful God, then fine-tuning is a nonsensical position, because God could have created a life using any parameters it chose. There's no such thing as fine-tuning if you believe in the omni-God.
Yeah.
Josh says, Ian...
Sorry to fucking go on like a little side tangent. Another possibility is that God could have just created like an additional God, or like additional beings that didn't even need like physical existence to have minds or interact with each other.
Yeah. Josh says, Ian, Justin, and Dr. B, I really enjoy the way you interact with everyone. Your energy, humor, and engagement makes everything more fun to be a part of. Well, thank you, Josh. We appreciate that. And I will fully admit that I'm the curmudgeon of the group. These two are always delightful.
No, that's not true. Dr. Blitz is always delightful.
He really is.
My mama raised me right.
Oren says, thanks for Sunday School, Unapologetic folks. Oren, we're glad that you're here to learn with all of us. It's exciting to actually get to engage in this dialogue rather than go to church and like read a hymnal and then regret that you woke up that morning. Michael says, Dr. Blitz, please go back into explaining to Justin and the rest of us what space is. Don't do it offline. It's super interesting. I actually don't think we have time for this. Because
we have like 1 minute.
We got like 1 minute left.
Unfortunately, the answer to your question is no.
But I think here's what you need to know, Michael. I have a different understanding of space as Dr. Blitz, and I'm wrong. That's really the reality of the matter. Someone like me who knows Bible and electricity is not going to have the right take on what space is if it disagrees with the guy with the PhD in physics. That's the reality of the matter. So
based
clearly,
and humility pilled?
I've got something to learn here. Obviously there's something I don't know. So we'll get to it eventually. And Constantine says, I have a 20-year-old RuneScape account. I've ever played.
Bet I have a 23-year-old RuneScape account. Fight me.
Impressive. Alexis, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, all I gotta say is I was raised Catholic and I am thankful for what you all do. I've been watching these past few Sundays and had to become a fan. Well, Alexis, thank you so much for becoming a fan. And, you know, a lot of us were believers in God at some point. It's these dialogues that get us to what I think is a more rational position. So dialogue for the win, and good luck on your journey, Alexis. Oren says, Justin, you were just coming at the Pythagoras joke from the wrong angle. Amazing. Amazing. That was gold. Omar, good to see you.
You needed to come at it from the right angle?
Even better.
This must be a sign. Omar. No one get it? Okay, fine.
I'm not co-signing off on that joke.
There we go.
Sorry about that tangent.
Oh, there we go. We're getting there.
Quickly, Dr. Blitz, come up with something that works in goddamn Kosi can't.
Omar says, why can you never trust atoms? Because they make up everything. Thanks for another great stream. That's a good joke, too. We like that one, Omar. We appreciate that. Thanks for being here. And last super chat from Nathaniel says, after dinner with my pastor dad, I have officially deconstructed, you mean, and am now atheist. Love Justin and Blitz. Ian catching strays over here, but special thanks to Ian. There we go.
I'm kidding.
Special thanks to Ian. You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. Ian is an inspiration. All right, friends, thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry we can't run later today. I've got a hard cutoff. That's on me. But we'll be back here again, same time, same place. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on YouTube. Thank you so much for liking and supporting. Share this with all your believer friends, and maybe we can make the world a better place.
I'm going live after this, by the way.
Also, become a member.
Yeah.
Become a member.
Yep.
There's only 54 of you, and there's like 2,000 people watching. Become a member.
I'm gonna go live at allegedly.ian on TikTok on the account that's currently joined, and then allegedly Ian on YouTube.
Awesome. Everyone over to Ian's live, and we'll see you again in a week, friends.
Bye.